Good morning, Tradeify Nation, and welcome to another edition of Tradeify TV. It is Friday, June 6th, 2025. It is 60 minutes before the New York opening bell, and we've got some great market action. Non-farm payrolls just came out, so we're just going to launch right into it, but I can't launch right into it without announcing my co-star for the day. We're going to go with co-stars today, Miriam. I think that vibes a little more for us today. But it is you and I today, and she is the Matcha Mommy. So good morning, Miriam. How are you today?
Good morning, Matt. Yeah, I apparently have multiple nicknames on the show. So you're going to hear Matcha Mommy, you're going to hear the Curly Trader, and you're going to hear my actual name, which is Miriam. So good morning to all of you guys. Welcome to the stream today. Happy Friday to everyone. If you guys rocked with us this week, you knew that we had such a packed week with guests. Unfortunately, we don't have our friend Nick today, but I am rocking the white tee to represent for today. Actually, I literally just bought this. This is like the only white tee I will probably ever have in my closet, and this is only for Nick. So shout out to you, Nick. We hope that you are having a good day today as well. So yeah, let's get right into it, Matt. What's going on here?
The unemployment rate just came out, non-farm payrolls. Unemployment rate is basically unchanged. And let's see, the payrolls expecting 130, coming in at 139. So slightly better than expected. It's interesting. I think, as we just, not that we want to wade into the bullshit that is politics here, but I think both sides have been accusing whatever administration is in power of manipulating these numbers anyway. Because if you pay attention, about 2 or 3 months down the line, they always go back and revise them, and they're not always positive. But you know what? That is the nature of what we're dealing with right now. Not expecting a ton of job creation, just 130, but we did exceed it a little bit. Markets popping on that. Everything right now, guys, is all about interest rates. It's all about inflation, and that's kind of I was going to get into that. We just somebody brought it up in the chat already. Miriam, we had a big boy Twitter beef going on yesterday between Trump and Musk. That I don't know that the end result of that really surprised anyone, but it got pretty personal yesterday. So it's nothing like two of by position and by money, two of the most powerful people in the entire world sniping at each other on social media. That was interesting.
Absolute chaos. I mean, talk about watching a divorce unravel, right? Like it really was just watching like a marriage end between two politicians, or two big people. But a lot of dirty laundry just laid out on the internet, and honestly, it's a little crazy. It feels a little icky to me, but Tesla actually dropping massively yesterday. And it's funny because I was just telling you the other day we reviewed the Tesla chart on the stream here, and I talked about a setup that I really liked, which ended up actually unfolding. And now actually I think Tesla is up in the pre-market. But that being said, this is the thing that we are exposed to in the markets, right? We have these sort of headline risks that we're unfortunately can make this market a little bit more difficult to trade in. We talked about how 2025 has just been a little bit of a different environment to trade in, and some people are struggling a little bit, which is why I think talking about psychology will be something we always refer to on the stream, and it's something that's never going to go away in your trading journey, right? You're always going to have to battle the emotions of trading. So it's not the sexiest thing to talk about, but it's very important. It's very integral to your trading journey. So you'll hear us talking about psychology throughout today and in the future, just moving forward here. So
and it's so important, Miriam. You and I were talking a little bit before we went live today, and I was sharing a couple of stories from back in my pre-COVID touring days for doing I was working for a brokerage, and they sent us all over the country to do events and all that kind of stuff. And I just remember, I've attended probably 10 different traders expos as either a speaker or sometimes just going, like when they would be in Chicago, even before I was in this business. You just go network, learn, the whole nine. And I can tell you this: you go to those events, and there's mainly two types of talks, right? There's like strategy, pattern, technical analysis talks, how to, like my favorite pattern, how I make 9 figures, all that bullshit. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other side, which is kind of, mindset, trader psychology talks. And the trader psychology talks are never full, and the strategy talks always are. And yet traders have a huge percentage chance of failing at this. So I think it kind of goes to the point we've consistently tried to make on this show. Every single one of our guests, right? And we've had a wide range of guests in terms of experience, age, background, all successful traders, all trade, either live on stream or and yet every single one of them came back to the mindset and the psychology of things. And listen, guys, I know it's not the sexiest thing in the world, right? I know because I used to do it. I used to turn off talks that were just trading. Like, how the hell is this going to help me? Go away, Mark Douglas. I don't need you. Well, guess what? All of that stuff is extremely important. You've got to be, today's probably the first day I'm feeling a little more normal this week after a little personal chaos. But I am excited and ready to go today. And it's all about, again, knowing who you are as a trader, knowing where your mental strengths and weaknesses fall, and just going from there. And when you get all that in your head, then you just start killing the markets like Miriam's been this week.
Yeah, it's been quite an interesting week. Obviously we've had some things come out, and I think I kind of want to look at the charts though, because we did get this data that came in obviously right when we opened here. I always have NASDAQ and ES pulled up on my charts, and I like to kind of start with the 1 hour. And I know Matt will kind of work backwards here, because I know you like to look at the bigger time frames. But we have a few areas here, especially on ES. I think ES has been kind of the one that I've been looking at for the primary reason, because we haven't been able to really hold above this 6,000 level. Now we kind of got the energy to move above it yesterday, but as you guys can see, this 4-hour zone that I have here on the ES, as we're literally trying to push into it right now, we've just been banging. I mean, Matt, I like what you said, banging our heads on this level. And we got a little bit of a promising move yesterday, but look at this tail that we put in the pre-market. The one thing that I did say yesterday was I don't want to see is a look above and fail of this level, which we basically got. We got, obviously a rally back up, but we weren't quite able to make our way above this. So that's something that I'm going to be looking for. Again, this 6,000 to 6,016 level on ES, it's just been a level that we have not been able to clear. And so for me, as we're seeing NASDAQ being a little bit stronger, because we are reaching close to those highs on the NASDAQ. I mean, all-time highs on the NASDAQ, let's look at the 4-hour here. All-time highs on the NASDAQ is this 22,425 level. So if we go back to the 1-hour chart on the NASDAQ, I mean, we're still a ways away, right? But NASDAQ has been a little bit stronger than ES, So for me, what I would be looking for is this level from yesterday, right? We got into this 1-hour zone, the 21,852, all the way up to the 21,939 area. So this is going to be a key rejection level that I would be looking for bulls to actually extend above, because then we do have room up to 22,000 and then up to the 22,100 or 175 200 area, right? So if we can clear, I think we have a nice move to the upside. Now, of course, being a bear, right? I like the downside move, and we did yesterday kind of flirt with this 4-hour demand zone that we have down here at the 21,500 400 area. So we were able to hold this area, so it is still a zone that I'm looking at. Now, that's kind of the range that we're dealing with, and I know it's kind of quite a big range, but if you are looking to take a scalp today, again, it's Friday, guys, so just be mindful just in general of today. Fridays tend to be a little bit more volatile days, just because the contracts are expiring, people are trying to take the weekend, all that, right? There's just a lot going on. So always position yourself well on a Friday. But I am looking at this 630 level to potentially break. As you can see on the 5-minute, it was an area of support resistance, and now it's an area of support. So I'd be looking for that to potentially break. And then we have this trend line sitting here at the 530 level. So that's something that I'll be looking for, but we are kind of making a move up to this 800 area. So let's kind of see what we're looking at today. What are you seeing on the bigger time frames here?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the 4-hour chart here in the NQ, and it's interesting, Miriam, for all of the the news, for all of the back and forths, for all of the et cetera, the technicals have actually held up pretty well over the course of the last week or so. And if we go into the 4-hour chart here, we have this prior zone of consolidation that we were basically in for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks at the end of June. We popped and dropped on some tariff news, but I really didn't consider this a confirmed break because we got right back into the zone. Well, we've definitely confirmed it, and we have what I call a classic break, retest, and go kind of in progress here. The thing that concerns me is this multi-wick rejection here up at the 850 level. So I'm hoping we get above 800 and in the 850 today, because I think that gives us an opportunity potentially for a short up there. Yes, I'm talking about a short. So I'm sure Beronce will be on completely on board with that. But let's see, I mean, we can only go up, and like you said, yeah, we banged our head on this 850, but it's going to hold until it doesn't. Is that today? I don't know. It's a Friday. I will say this, we after yesterday, right? And again, Tesla got destroyed yesterday on this little feud, and Tesla is very highly weighted in all the indexes. So that, if that continues today, if both of them wake up and start sniping at each other again, whoever first tweeted this out yesterday, about 1,000 people tweeted it, so I don't know who it was. I don't know who to give credit to, but the best tweet I saw on all this yesterday was first messy breakup of Pride Month. So I thought that was really funny. But yeah, it's so for all of this, guys, we're right back on the technicals today, and I'm looking for a push to 800. Possibly in the pre-market here, and then that's the first inflection point. 850 is the next one. As far as the ES, we still just have this 6,000 that we just cannot seem to get over. Somebody brought up in the stream yesterday, and I forgot to whoever this was, a good point. So keep in mind, this is the ES. This is not the SPX. The SPX is just the index itself, right? So the SPY is the ETF that trades off of the SPX. The ES is the futures contract that trades off the SPX. You have then the options on futures for the ES. You've got options on SPY. It's a whole thing. But the actual index itself, depending on how far we are out we are from expiration, is not always, well, it's never going to be the exact same as the ES contract. So even as we broke up above the 6,000 yesterday in the ES, the SPX itself had a little trouble with that. I'll pull up the chart because again, it's not open right now. It only trades during the New York hours, but we really struggled to get above and hold above this 6,000 level. So I think our high yesterday was, let's see, a 599.70. So we couldn't crack it. So that's something I'm going to be watching out of the corner of my eye today, because again, we've got to get that next leg up to break above basically the highest we've been since, let's see, back here in around Valentine's Day. We're going to need volume. We're going to need conviction on the part of traders. And we're going to need to see some follow through. Tanner has a good quote, a good comment. Feel like this is how they keep accumulating fake feud to lower price for another great time to buy tweet. Listen, I don't know that. I know it's some of the shots that were being taken yesterday. I don't know this is a planned feud. If they were going after each other on policy, but then we start bringing in other things and things I don't want to talk about in the stream, and that's a whole different ball game. I don't think they're planning this. Now, that doesn't mean Trump doesn't do something to pop the markets. But keep in mind, guys, Fridays have traditionally been a time we've seen a lot of, since the tariff mess started, Miriam, we've seen a lot of sell-offs on Friday afternoons because there's so much risk to hold over the weekends. And even people trading stocks, options, whatever, that bleeds into futures because market makers have to hedge. They've got to, take their positions, what they need to do. So it's going to be interesting. I would like a morning pop, I think, that leads to an afternoon short into the weekend.
I like that. Yeah, I definitely like that. I mean, I like what we're seeing so far in the markets. And I agree. I like what you said too about SPX, because I used to trade SPX as an options trader. It was the only thing I really traded. So that 6,000 level really is going to be a key level for us to break, and we just could not sustain it. And of course, because there is that correlation with ES, as you can see, we're just not able to get up above this level. So if we do get a break though, that'll be nice for call options to take on on SPX, because we can really extend above here. And the next level that I really see on ES is not until the 6,100 area. So we do have room up until this 4-hour zone. And of course, I'm not a swing trader, so I wouldn't be holding my position technically until that zone today. But if we did get this pop up, we could see an extension in a rally. But yeah, it's an interesting time to be trading right now. And we talked about this a little bit, but Fridays for me, I think I like to take it easy, especially after a week where we've had some good gains. And if even if you didn't have any good gains, Fridays are just typically good days to just size down in general, right? You don't want to be, we talk about full port Friday and, going crazy and all this, whatever. But this is always a good time to just either completely stay out of the market, especially if you had a good day, observe the market, of course, but, don't feel like you need to force a trade today. Don't feel like you need to ever force a trade, but especially on a Friday, you guys want to be a little bit more careful. I always say, like, don't, position yourself where you're now starting the weekend on a negative note. You don't want people or your loved ones or your friends to be around you when you're just angry about the position that you put yourself in on a Friday. So again, it's just one of those days where we want to be risk adverse. We want to look at what the market is telling us, be aware of any headline risk or fundamentals, which I don't think we're actually, I think we got our news out of the way for today. So, we don't have much going on the rest of the day. Yeah, so we're good. We're good for the rest of the day. But again, it's Friday, so just always make sure you are positioned for that. And looking at what's going on in the market. So yeah, as we kind of get into, the rest of the charts here, did you want to go over any gold? Or I know that you said your charts were still kind of giving.
Yeah, I'm having some kind of technical issue with Tradeify. Anything non-CME is delayed. And I went in and checked my data yesterday, and I have the subscription to all the markets because, as I mentioned to Miriam, it's amazing how cheap data is when you're not routing orders through a platform. But we do have the Fed Bowman talking at, let's see, at 9 o'clock, so 10 o'clock Central. Baker Hughes oil rig count later on. But yes, the major news is basically, well, let me rephrase that. The major scheduled news is done for the day. We didn't see a lot of the president up until yesterday, and it's Friday, which means he's going to fly to one of his clubs. He's going to walk by the press. He always engages with the press, so there could be something, et cetera, et cetera. My guess is he'll take shots at Elon. It'll affect Tesla. It may drag the NQ down a little bit. But the news yesterday, of course, that there is a meeting on, we don't know where, we don't know when, we don't know all the details, between the U.S. and China, which is the ball game as far as tariffs. No offense to our good friends in other countries, but like the markets don't really give a crap if we have a tariffs on, Liechtenstein or anything like that. It's all China, and especially in the tech sector, because every Chinese or every American tech company manufactures either in China or India. So yeah, I do want to say, guys, we're really going to be engaging with the comments today. So as you guys know, Nick is out today. Miriam, I got a question for you. Do you think Nick is honestly wearing a suit today? I don't know that I can picture him in anything other than a white tee.
A white tee, maybe a white blazer as well. I don't know. He might be competing with the groom. If they're both wearing white, might be a little awkward. But yeah, I would love to see. We told him, we were like, send us a picture so we can actually verify that you're not in fact wearing white. But who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wore white today to represent him, but I don't believe him when he says he's not wearing white. So
yeah, absolutely. Nick has more PTO than me, and I'm unemployed. That's the comment of the day. I love that. No, guys. No, I mean, Nick. This is obviously a wedding that's been scheduled for quite some time, and it was the bachelor stuff last week as well. So no, it's been planned for quite some time. We got up and running pretty quick, guys. So there's scheduling things we need to work around. To my knowledge, I think we're all pretty much locked in for the rest of the summer. Although I have a wedding, my own, in August, so I'll be gone for a couple of days for that. But maybe we'll do a live check-in from the groom suite that morning. I think that'd be kind of fun. I do want to also say, Jesus said, Jesus, whatever. Hi guys, yesterday I won one of 50K accounts. Haven't received anything in the email. First of all, check your spam. Second of all, make sure your email is in your YouTube profile. And also, it's not just Nick. We have some of our support team that had scheduled vacations and stuff this week. We also have a couple of illnesses, so we're running kind of like a skeleton crew today. So again, I apologies, but I do know, guys, we have a behind the scenes chat, and I do know everybody's that one is in in our system. So just give it a little time. I'm sure as people get back to work this weekend and into next week, a lot of that'll be taken care of. But I appreciate you guys. We're not going to shut you down for asking in the chat for that. You won something, you'll get it. So I believe almost everybody that won stuff in our opening days has been taken care of. If not, do reach out to support and we'll get you taken care of.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just pulled up the chart of gold here. And I'm not a gold trader. I specifically focus on the NASDAQ and ES, but I just want to pull up this chart just to kind of see, and Matt, feel free to kind of give your insight here. But, if I'm just looking at this as a naked chart, we have this beautiful trend line here on gold, and we've kind of just been moving up this trend line here. We also have this nice little resistance area sitting at the 3420 area, 34.19, that I would, if I was looking to trade this, I would like to see us get above this level. Now we do have this wick as well to 35.10 on the daily that we could potentially come up in and fill here. But actually, I would be interested to see if this trend line breaks to the downside, because we would have a nice little level sitting here at 33.06. So that's just kind of my quick interpretation of gold. If we have any gold traders here, precious metal traders, and that's kind of what I see. Matt, do you see anything different on here that you would like to
Yeah,
notice?
gold has been, and again, I'm working with a little bit of delayed data here, guys, so bear with me. But yeah, gold is cracking this morning. And as far as kind of the big picture, obviously the 4-hour charts aren't too far behind. Yeah, we broke out to this for this trend line on June 2nd. So a retracement down to that area, or we could just kind of stall out at the 33.65 level. I'll be honest, I have not traded gold much in the past about quarter or so. So it's something I need to get back into. The markets have just been, the indexes have just been such good traders this year. And I know they've been challenging to trade because of everything that's been going on. But honestly, gold was something I would look at in past years when the indexes are just shit for the day. So I'm looking at gold, I'm looking at oil, I'm looking at the Russell, even dabbled in silver for a little while. So, you're looking for things to trade, but when you're getting these really big moves within the index, there's just no need to go look elsewhere. If you make your money, hit your targets, whatever, why are you going to go look at something that you have a little less experience in? And we do recommend newer traders start with the ES, maybe then add the GC before you circle back to the NQ. But yeah, I'll be honest, the oil and gas, or oil and gold charts are just not interesting to me right now, especially after the breakout MGC of that long-term trend line. But we'll get into that as the show progresses, and we'll go from there. Fountains, you're asking about Twitter accounts. Who got hacked? Did somebody big get hacked?
So in terms of when we look at, the NQ and gold, keep in mind, guys, if there are other tickers you guys want us to look at that aren't in the futures market, we're happy to do so as well. I mean, we did, obviously I told you guys we looked at Tesla the other day. If there's other tickers you guys ever want us to observe or look at or give insight on, we're happy to do that on separate segments. So yeah, just let us know, pop it in the chat whenever we get to it. We're happy to look at it. So let us know.
Yeah, as we go forward, we're going to be getting especially into the Mag 7 on stock charts as well. Just kind of, especially like, Tesla and some of the big boys that drive things. Don't pick on GC. It's my jam. Hey, Trader Rachel, that's great. No, I mean, if you find something that again you want us to take a look at, make sure you put it in. What do you guys think of Tesla this morning? Honestly, guys, the Tesla charts, we look at a Tesla chart and break it down. There's for me today, there's just so much headline risk in Tesla, right? And maybe it's time to buy the dip, but I wouldn't do it today. I would look at, I dabble a little bit in options in my IRA. I honestly was looking at it yesterday, but I want to see 2 or 3 days go by without Elon and Trump sniping at each other. They'll both move on to different things in the next week. And I think when they do, there actually will probably be a very nice buying opportunity there. But let's, for a beginner, would you recommend the ES or the NQ? Definitely the ES to start with. The NQ, as I lovingly refer to it, as a monkey on meth, is challenging, and you really have to be careful with that. Hold on just a second here, guys.
Yeah,
right.
ES is, I mean, you said it really well the other day. Trade ES for the reasons that you don't want to be trading ES, but NASDAQ is volatile, it's quick, there's lots of just it's chaotic, right? And you can get really nice moves from it. But in this trading environment, if you are struggling, maybe look at ES, because there are some really good setups on ES that have been actually playing out really well lately. So it is a little bit of a slower mover, but it kind of helps you stay in your position longer, especially if that's something that you struggle with, as a trader. So you're not going to get those crazy moves, but you can always trade, obviously, MES, right? So something to consider as well. And I always say too, like, if you can grow a small account, if you can start with an account size of, $500, $1,000, and, just build it very, very slowly over a small period of time, just by trading the micros, right? You guys don't have to put on size by trading the minis. I mean, if you've been a trader for long enough and you've developed that consistency, by all means, start increasing your position size, but do it in a way where, you're not going from trading like five micro contracts and then now all of a sudden you're trading, 3 or 4 minis, right? Like that doesn't make sense. And also, consider your risk on every single trade as well. There are some days where I take a little bit higher risk. There are other days where I see a good setup, but I'm like, you know what? I don't want to risk as much on this play, so I will reduce my position size in order to let the trade play out for me. That's something else to consider too, because we've obviously seen these massive moves. One candle on a 1 minute will be 100 points, right? And it's just it's crazy to look at, right? So a lot of times in this market, you have to position yourself for these sort of broader stops, right? So for me, I used to trade 20-point stops, right? And I still do in some cases, but there are some trades where I have to put on 40 points of a stop, maybe a little bit more. So in those cases, right, in those trades, I have to position myself lightly for that. I can't go in with my full size thinking, oh, I'm just going to get a 40-point stop. No, it doesn't work like that. So the days that I am positioned in my full position are days where I don't risk as much and I am more confident on those sort of setups. Again, it's all probability. Anything can and will happen in this market, as I've seen in my trading career, but you just have to consider that every single time you're going into a trade. You don't want to be sweating, sitting there like, oh my God. If you're sweating, if you're nervous in a trade, you're very likely too highly positioned. You should lower your position size, because you shouldn't be feeling that anxiety. Your heart rate should not be doubling, just because you're in a trade. That's not a good position to be in, and it's not healthy. It's just not healthy for you in the long term. So consider that also when you're trading, and just be careful, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I think if your heart is pounding like you do when you looked at your significant other or a loved one when you're trading, that's not the reaction that you want. You want that in romance. You don't want that in trading. You want to be you want to look at your trades like that slightly annoying but not completely ridiculous coworker that we've all had, and you just want to be very dispassionate towards them, right?
yeah, I like that too. USA said, she goes, trade with a heart monitor and see what it tells you. I actually used to have my heart rate on my Apple Watch, and not specifically when I was trading, but like there's a setting that you can set on it to where it will tell you if your heart rate just spiked all of a sudden. And this happened to me a few times when I was trading, and it would like beep at me, and I was like, oh crap, like what's going on here? So that actually might be a good idea if you guys, if you have an Apple Watch, or if you have that setting turned on to see how you're doing during your trades.
Yeah, I actually had a former person that I trade with that did that as well, and it was like he had spikes every time. Like he made about 2 to 3 trades a day, but he was in front of his computer for 5, 6, 7 hours. So he actually, you could tell just on his heart monitor, he had like a Fitbit or something, when he was in trades, because it was good 10 to 15 minutes where his heart rate ticked up a little bit. Now he was able to manage that, and some psychosomatic responses to anything trading related is normal. But again, you can't, like, I hate people that say, well, you got to eliminate your emotions in trading. Well, good effing luck, right? Like, there's nothing more emotional to us than our money that we're able to provide for, family and I know everyone talks about the Lambos and all this, those of us that once we get over 30, 35, we're thinking, I'm looking, that's a mortgage payment, right? Like that's as opposed to, that's going in the Lambo fund, right? But yeah, it is very emotional, but you can't let the emotions influence the decision making. There's got to be that little, the little connector that goes from emotions to decision making needs to be cut off when it comes to trading. Because I'll be honest, Miriam, I still have a lot of reactions when I'm in any kind of trade, but I don't let those emotions and reactions influence the decision making.
Yeah, one of the best things that I heard from a mentor that I had, it wasn't actually a direct mentor, but someone that I really looked up to in the trading world, and he's actually a former market maker, and he was someone who talked a lot about his emotions, and he also said like. He was like, my wife and kids would never know if I had a really red day or if I had a really green day. He was like, I would always keep my emotions just like completely neutral, and he would have this stoicism about him. And I always like I love that because, for me, that's something that I really struggled with in my beginning trading. I would let my emotions really get the best of me and really take over the day, that I would have, and I wouldn't be able to enjoy my day because I had a red day, right? And to me, it's like, it's not about having a red day. It's how much you can contain that losing trade, right? It's avoiding the unnecessary losses, because you're gonna have losses, right? You're gonna have days where you're just red, and that's totally fine. But I liked what he said of my wife and kids would just never know if I had a red day because I would be the same if I had a really green day. He was like, I had my biggest trade in my trading career, and they had no idea when I came down and had breakfast with them. And so it's just one of those really cool moments to see of, you're gonna have emotions, right? You're gonna battle with that. But the one thing is like, don't try to let that bleed into your personal life and the people around you, because it's something that really radiates and it vibrates, and people can feel that from you, when you're agitated and you're just not in a good mood. And on the other side of it too, I liked what he said of, I don't let green trades or big trades really affect me emotionally either, because you don't want to have those very, very high highs and very, very low lows where they are just, driving your personal life. So just be very aware of that too. And that's why I say, if you're feeling these like really strong pulls and emotions on one side or the other, size down, guys, really size down and just take like the easy wins, and the wins that are not sexy, maybe, like $50, $100, $200, but something that'll provide consistency for you, because that stacks up, right? So it's just something that I really liked. Always practice stoicism in your trades.
Absolutely. I see Leia checking in. Always nice to see you, Leia, and she's got to go back to her guest. Boy, we don't even have Leia today, man. Everybody's gone.
She isn't here. She said Happy Swedish National Day.
Well, she said she has to go back to her guests. So
got it.
We just checked in.
Yeah,
we appreciate you stopping by.
That's awesome. Happy Swedish National Day to all the Swedish people out there. I know we have Nick from Switzerland, but he's not Swedish. But it's cool to see different people in the chat from different countries. So we love
it's okay. 90% of us Americans probably don't know the difference between Sweden and Switzerland. So it's fine.
That's facts. No, but I love that. We love seeing our regulars in here as well, and it's great that you guys are rocking with us. If you haven't already, and if you're on here, if you're new, if you're returning, we would love if you guys could give us a like on this channel. If you guys can subscribe as well, get notified. We're a bit of a light crew today, but we do have possibly someone else joining us on the live later. So we'll see if we get a.
Yeah, we shall see. Listen, we've established, this is what, our 10th, 11th show, something like that.
Yeah.
We've established pretty much every stream on this show, like at least a couple of things are going to happen that are pretty unexpected, whether somebody pops in, a giveaway, a sale, whatever. I'm not promising any of that stuff today. I'm just saying pretty much every single day we've had something that we don't announce. And that's why you got to be here every day, guys. So I really, really like The fact that that we have people coming back day after day after day after day, right? And we see the same names and people contributing. That again, I've said many times, like our goal is to build this show, but it's also to build out the community here at Tradeify. And so for those of you that are here every single day and contributing and asking, you guys ask great questions, and I'm not blowing smoke. You guys literally do. Make sure that you keep coming back. Make sure you keep contributing. And like I said, when we're the biggest show out there, we're going to look back at everyone here, at all the names, and be like, hey, you were with us from the beginning, and we certainly appreciate that. So that's what we're trying for here, guys. So 750 level is holding here on the NQ. So we're sort of Marion pogoing between about 750 and 775 right now. I feel like we want to, I don't want to say break down. I feel like we need a little more retracement here, at least down maybe to the +1 standard deviation. So might look for something there. I usually like looking at the Rankos. They're not as reliable in pre-market. First 2 hours of the New York session is when the Rankos seem to have the best signals. So we'll head back to that. But right now, for me, I would like to see a breakdown to +1 standard deviation and potentially have a long setup there. But we'll see. We'll see how we set up. Anything jumping out to you as we are 24 minutes from the New York Open?
No, not really. For me, it's the same kind of levels that we talked about. This 800 level on the NASDAQ is really going to be that key level for me. But, it's not to say that there are no good trades to take, because there's always a trade, right? Depending on what kind of strategy you take, there's always something for someone, right? But for me, when I'm looking at this, we are actually developing a nice little bull flag here on the NASDAQ. So if we can actually hold this like 739 area, I think we can, maybe dip below this 9 EMA and then get a nice move up. But for me, I want to see the first 15 minutes develop, right? That's going to be the number one thing for me today. We don't have any more data. We don't have any more news, hopefully, coming out and trying to,
that we know of.
Yeah, watch. I just jinxed it right now. We're gonna have something. But for me, I would be looking at this 739 area. I trade on the 5-minute and the 2-minute. Those are my sweet spots when I'm scalping, essentially. Or day trading in general. But for me, I would be looking at 736, 739 to hold, and then getting this push up into this 800 level would be what I would target if that was a trade that I was looking at. But again, I really want to see the first 15 minutes develop. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about is you could take the break of 815 to be safe on the NASDAQ with a target of like 855, 860. This is the next resistance zone that I see on NQ, and this is actually let me zoom out here. This is a 1 hour demand zone from yesterday, actually. So this would be the next target. Now, I wouldn't initiate a trade in this 860 area by any means, but I would wait to see a reaction in this, because I think a next level would be that 936 area. Now you could probably get a nice quick scalp into this, but for me, I don't typically like to initiate trades in a zone, as you can see very well highlighted by ES. This is a zone on the ES that we just clearly could not get above. So I don't like initiating zones in here, or I'm sorry, initiating trades in these zones. But again, I want to see how ES is really going to handle that 6,000 level. So if we can get above the 6,016 area, I think it looks good for a long. I think that would actually play very well with these levels on NQ. But so far, futures are in sync with each other, which is what I like to see when I'm trading either NQ or ES. Depending on which one is the stronger of the two is typically what I'll take for either going long on. But any of the weaker ones, that's the one I would choose to go if I'm looking for a short. Now, I'm not necessarily looking for any short trades at this moment. I don't really like to initiate trades. I try to take a hero trade here and there sometimes to be fun, but I wouldn't do that today, because you could potentially take a short at a rejection here with a very small stop loss. Now, this is one trade idea if you had a small risk, but I would potentially look at a possible rejection of this zone right here with like I said, a very, very small stop loss, but you could have a very nice reward to the downside. So that's another trade idea I might be interested in. But I kind of want to know too, like, are you guys Are you guys, how's your sentiment today? Are we feeling bullish? Are we feeling bearish? We typically like to throw a poll out there, but just throw it in the chat. How are you guys feeling in terms of the market today? Do you think we're going to go up? Do you think we're going to close red? Or do you think we're just going to stay in yesterday's range, which is pretty much what we're doing right at this moment? So let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, the next move, I think, probably determines how we're going to do for the day. And it may wait until the New York Open to make that move. I do think if we break out to a session high here, 800's on deck, and probably a test of 850 is not long after that. If we break down, it could just be especially if we get below +1 standard deviation, yesterday's midpoint, I think we could just see a little bit of chopping back and forth today. Now, it doesn't mean it's not tradable, right? But that's something I'm going to be looking at. Michael, I see you in the chat. I think they just sent out a bunch this morning, so make sure to check your spam folder. And I know they're working on that stuff this morning. And yeah, I saw the thing, Miriam, there from Taylor. You made him some money yesterday. So why don't you give out your Venmo or your PayPal? He can send you 25% of that commission. Broker's commission.
Oh my God, no! This is what I love. I love to see this. Taylor said, and Taylor, I don't know if you're guy or girl. It could be a girl, but I'm here to learn. Yesterday afternoon, I took 3 trades based off what Miriam taught last week. I freaking love that. And this is what we're here for, guys. We want to show you. We want to give you this value, right? Like, we all see something different as traders. Matt has been trading a lot more than I have, but we're all here to win. We all want to see you guys win, and whatever value we can provide to you, is good for us. So someone else said, Mike said, I feel like what you guys are doing differently so far with Tradeify TV is you're operating it like streamers rather than hosts, which I feel like is more beneficial for the connection and conversation. Thank you very much for that. And this is all new to us too. Like, for me, I don't have a background in streaming. I'm not a YouTuber, but I create content on Instagram, and I started doing that more so out of like just pure fun, but then it kind of became something, and it became useful for people. And I love helping people. I love, the fulfillment I get from that is really what pushes me and makes me want to do more of this. And being with people like Matt and Nick that are just great people in general, not just great traders, but just genuine people that also want to help. I know, Matt, you have an education background too, so that really comes out, I think, in our personalities. And so we really appreciate the love that you guys give to us, and the support that you guys are also giving. We love rocking with you guys every single morning, so appreciate that.
I see the comment there from Jonathan. Has anyone called? I just took 4th payout today. First of all, congratulations, man. No, seriously. Getting to your first payout is great, and that's a very important milestone in your trading career. But again, you should be turning these accounts into paychecks. So when you're getting 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th payout, getting moved to live, taking that is the ultimate goal of what you should be trying to accomplish here at Tradeify. So big congratulations to you. Keep it going. Whatever you've been doing so far, keep doing it. I'll be honest, guys, to pass an eval or even get to a payout can be kind of fluky. You can do it and not really know what you're doing. But to get to multiple payouts, to get to a live account where you're taking out 10, 20, 30 grand, that's not fluky. That's, what you're doing at this point. So just continue doing it. Don't change anything other than adjust your sizes based on volatility and market conditions. But Jonathan, I love hearing that. Guys, make sure we want to share your successes in this chat and as part of this community as well. And the other Jonathan, close to 3rd payout. Hell yes, man. Absolutely, hell yes.
We love to see this.
Yeah, it is. And guys, we want to, and I appreciate Mike's comments about how things are a little different here. I told you on our first show, we're not just trying to copy what other places are doing. I understand format is always going to be similar, right? We talk about the markets, we see a trade, take a trade, all of that. I understand that they're format-wise, it seems very similar. But guys, we're really trying to, I don't know if you guys that have been in this space, whether it's you watched another streamer or YouTuber or you're on social media, like the negativity out there is just so overwhelming. This is one of the reasons it's so challenging to become a trader, is because you have to overcome a lot of negative feedback early in your career. Your first 6 to 8 months, almost every piece of feedback you have, and when I say feedback, I mean trading results, I mean, stuff on social media, is negative. You have to overcome overwhelming negativity to consistently be a profitable trader. And guys, that can be very difficult. So if we can offer you just a little bit of positivity on this stream every day, and for those of you, I've gotten a couple of messages on Twitter, and those of you that drop the comments in, that you make us part of your daily routine, you keep us on in the background, we're on the front, whatever. We sincerely appreciate that. That's how you build community, and that's how you build slowly but steadily a really high-end program, and we can't do it without you. So we really I really appreciate that. So yeah, guys, so keep the questions, keep the comments coming. We are now nearing 15 minutes to the open, and we're breaking out towards session highs.
Yep.
Boy, I don't want to see it go up anymore. I want a little bit of a retracement and an opportunity for a long going into the open. If we pop above 800, again, as a reform chaser, I know I say this a lot. We have we have meetings. This is tough. This is difficult because I feel like, let's see, where did we start this move? Basically all the way down here at about 670 to 650. So Miriam, we're up over, well, now 130, 140 points, could be close to 200 by the open. I feel like that warrants a retracement into the open, but then it could be a 200-point pop like we saw a couple days ago. So definitely a time to probably wait out the first 5 to 15 and see what opportunities present themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I would be also very sad if we did just like make the move to the upside, because it wouldn't give us any, at least for me, any solid entries. I would always wait for a pullback. I say this to you guys every single time. Do not chase a trade. If you see this massive move to the upside or a massive pop, don't try to get into it, right? Always wait for the markets to settle. Obviously the markets are, just getting excited for some reason, right? But you don't want to enter a trade as you're seeing the market move up, because the last thing you want is to just get into it and now you just topped it, right, for a long, and now you just see your account going down because you weren't patient, right? So always wait for a pullback. This actually happened quite a few times. I think it was it Monday or Tuesday that we had that massive rally? I think it was Tuesday. No, whatever day. It was earlier in this week where we had this massive move to the upside, and then just completely, it was like 100+ points in one candle, and then we just completely took it out. And I said the same thing: do not chase this, as tempting as it is. Do not chase this move. And we just got the complete reversal back, took out the whole move, and that was my point being made. So don't chase it. Just wait for the market to settle. That's why I always say, guys, like, the best thing you can do too, if you're trying to stay patient, just wait for the first 15 minutes. Let the market settle, look at how price is developing, and then take a trade from there if it presents itself. But even right now, that 6,000 level is actually being tested on ES. We are getting some nice buying pressure. I look at book maps on the side for order flow. So we are getting some nice aggressive moves to the upside here. But the buying pressure right now is good. I just want to see how that's gonna play out in the open here. And we have about less than about 25 minutes, 20 minutes or so. So let's see how this develops. But what I don't want to see, man, because here's the thing, right? If we make this move to the upside, right, we push into 800. For me to get in on this, I would need to see a pullback. That's all I'm gonna say. I would need to see a pullback. But again, that's kind of what concerns me too, because if we get this nice push, I don't really see. I would want to see us again either pull back, or we could potentially do the same thing that we did earlier this week, which was completely take out this move. So I'm just gonna sit and stay with, watch the first 15 minutes, guys. Don't try to chase into this. If you were in a long from before, congratulations. I would say put a hard stop and just let this ride if it continues up. But yeah, let's see what we do at this 6,015 level on ES. This is going to be the key for me more than NASDAQ. I think that's what I'm going to be actually watching. And then I'll take a look at NASDAQ and see how we're doing there. But 6,015 on ES, that's the key area I'm looking at.
All right, so we are now, let's see, we are about 10 minutes, just 10 minutes, 10 seconds away from the New York Open at 8:30 Central Time, the real time zone here, all you East and West Coasters. But we are breaking out. Tony Smith brought up in the chat about the SPX, and I know you correct yourself saying it's not open, but I am very curious where SPX is going to open, and I do have it down here. Again, the charts are not as because it only trades during New York hours. I don't look at the chart as much, but I do. I'm looking at the ES chart because that's what I could potentially be trading. But where the SPX is important. So the SPX will likely open near 6,000, and where it goes from there is really gonna be important. So again, ES I believe needs to get up to about 6,010 for the SPX equivalent to be about 6,000. Now we've got previous months and previous weeks high up here at 6,008. Well, that can't be if yesterday's high was up at 616.
Well, I was actually watching SPX yesterday as we were making this push up to where we're currently at, and that was this level right here. The 6,007, 6,006 was actually where that 599 area started to hit on SPX. So this is kind of we might actually open right at 6,000 on SPX, maybe a little above, but if we do, it would create a very nice gap to the downside. And if you guys have heard me talking about gaps before on the stream, you know that I love trading gap fills. So especially as an options trader, that is something that I used to rely on so heavily when I used to trade SPX in options. So if we do make this, we're definitely going to gap up. That's for sure. We're going to gap up on the SPX. So we're going to have a nice lower gap to fill potentially, right? Because gaps don't always fill, but sometimes they do, and sometimes they fill the whole way. So if we get this push up on ES, I will be looking at that gap fill on SPX as well to see how we can trade ES. So I kind of use them interchangeably.
All right. So I was missing. I apologize, guys. I was misinterpreting in my head. I was screwing some things up here. Previous month's high, previous days, week's high, because that was a month ago. Last month, that was in May. 6,008. Yesterday, we got up to 6016. And as Tony Smith brought up, we were 0.3 away from tapping 6,000 on XPX yesterday. So I'm really hoping we at least test that, because I think getting to that point gives us a potential to either break out in continuation or a little bit of a retracement. But I agree with you, Miriam. I think as we sit here now, 8 minutes before the open, what I would like to see is a pullback at the open. In the NQ, I'd love to see us get down here to the +1 standard deviation. I don't know that we're going all the way down there, but I'd really like to see 750 and then maybe a doji candle, and we'll pop right back up, I think, at that point. It's again sort of the lower end of this zone of consolidation after the initial move up on the non-farm payrolls. So again, non-farm came in about as expected. I think unemployment was a tick or two lower than expected, and the jobs were a tick or two higher. I think it was 139 versus 130 expected. These summer jobs reports are not as big as some of the big hiring seasons in the spring and the fall, and seasonal workers and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, there's a lot going on with government workers, and are they working or are they not? Are they firing? Are they suing? Whatever the case may be. So again, I think a lot of these numbers become more and more detached from the health of the actual economy. The more they get politicized, etc. But right now, it's looking like clear skies into the open. But let's see, the 21,800 level is now being tested on this particular 5-minute candle. We have one more 5-minute candle to the open, and then I have no idea. We'll see.
No,
right?
I think it's always a good idea to be mindful of the previous day's range. And again, NQ, ES is actually pushing into that, right? Like ES would be the stronger contendant to me, even though we're still struggling at this level. But NQ is still in the previous day's range, right? That previous day range, like I said yesterday's high was 935, right? This is the level that we would essentially need to break above for bulls to have conviction today. So, for ES, if ES gets this push above, I think it can help pull NASDAQ. But, the more I look at this, the less the less bullish I am on this until we get above this level, because I don't really like to trade within the previous day's range. So for NQ, I would say if NQ is struggling to push above yesterday's range, then I think ES also will struggle and it will pull ES back, which is why, for me, I would be looking at a potential failed breakout on both futures. So let's see, right? Let's see what happens. And, right now I would say my sentiment is a little bit more bearish, just because right now if we can get above this previous day range, I'll very much change that sentiment. But right now I'm not really getting that sort of vibe. So especially if ES is just still stuck in this range. So also something to consider, guys, if you're looking at trading breakouts or anything like that, look at the previous day and see how we're doing in relation to that.
Absolutely. I see Jesse in the chat said we might not pull back. We might not. We absolutely may not. And that's fine. Bearish Miriam, that's new. When have you watched this show before?
There's very few times where I've been I've taken along. So
I do see a comment here that I want to address right before we get to the open here. Gabriella says I was close to a payout but overtraded and set myself back. Okay, and so again, maybe take a day or take the morning session just to kind of recompose yourself. I'm not saying to do this because again, I really kind of got my start more in personal accounts, but I have talked to traders in prop accounts who say when they get very close to passing, so let's say they close a trade and they're $200 from passing an eval or they're $100 from getting their next payout, is that rather than jump right into a trade immediately, and especially a trade at normal position size, they'll be very, very selective, and they'll maybe find, again, if you're like $100 away, take a 2 micro trade in the ESNQ, something like that, and try to get it that way. Because if it pulls back heavy on you, instead of being now $500, $600, $700, $800 away from a payout, you're just an extra $100 or $200 away from a payout. And then you'll get your normal trade set up and a little easier position size, and hopefully you will get there. Or that small trade works out in your favor. You hit your milestone and you're ready to go. I've just seen too many traders get like within, let's say you need $3,000 to pass of profits to pass an eval, and I know it varies across the growth and advanced and accounts, etc. But they'll be $200 away, and they'll immediately get into a 3 mini long, thinking 2 ticks will get them there. Well, guess what? It pulls back 10 ticks, right? And now you're giving away so much of what you've worked hard to do. So I would say don't change anything as far as your actual trade setups. They got you there, but maybe pull back the size just a little bit. Also, guys, the one thing to keep in mind with any sort of prop account in the eval stage, well, in any stage, right? Your first couple of trades are pretty important. And so you really want to look for A+ setups. If you, just for example, because I know it's a standard thing, need to make 2,000 before, or 3,000 before you lose 2,000, right? Or 2,500 before you lose 2,000. If your first 2 trades put you down $1,000, that changes the whole complexion of the eval, right? Now you basically need to be 4-to-1 profits to losses to pass. I think I saw stats one time that your first trade being a winner or a loser can increase or decrease your odds of passing the eval by as much as 25 to 30%. And that was from somebody who used to be in the industry. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it makes a lot of sense. So just again, your first trade and your last trade to start and to pass an eval should be A+ setups, even if you got to wait a few hours or a day or two for them, maybe a little smaller position size, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are under 2 minutes now, Miriam.
Yeah, let's see. Let's lock in, guys. Let's lock in. We do have a little guest coming in later today, but let's lock in here and see how this market will open. We are still rejecting this 810 level on the NASDAQ. We do have some sellers here on book maps on the NASDAQ, but if we can clear that, I don't really see anything up until the 840 area, 850. So let's see.
All right, just over a minute now. Everybody ready to go? Everybody locked in here? Big time short NQ at the opening in my head. Okay, I was just gonna say, all right.
Trust me, I'm tempted too, but let's see. Let's see how this opens first. If I am being short, though, I will say I would like to see a pop up. I would like to see a pop up. Essentially, what I call that is a look above and fail of this 616 on ES.
All right, 30 seconds, guys.
I'm gonna be waiting for you to say what you normally say.
We just started that tradition this week, but
I like it.
All right. I'm gonna get a shirt or a hat made or something.
Exactly. Ooh.
Here we go, guys. All right, ding, ding, motherfuckers. Let's go.
All right. SPX, of course, with that gap up here. We actually opened at the 5986 area on SPX, but couldn't quite get to that. We're trying to push into that 6,000. So let's see. ES still in this range.
The first 5-minute candle is going to be a tight range doji, isn't it? After all,
totally right.
Yeah.
So far quiet.
All right, SPX opened at about 993, so that's something we're going to keep an eye on.
Oh, I have 986 as the open. 987. 5987.
Yeah, the open. I'm sorry, I was looking at the value right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we gapped up to 87. We're now pushing up above 95.
Nice gap, though. I like it. If we can come down to it. Testing that 6,000 in a bit here, about 3 points away. Let's see if ES can get the juice. NASDAQ getting the buying pressure here. Let's see if that pulls ES. Market is nervous, real tone. Yeah, it kind of feels like that, huh?
Right now, it doesn't look that nervous.
Well, the way I think the way that I see it on Bookmaps too, like at least from the previous couple days, like there has been a lot more conviction from both buyers or sellers. We either get this pop up or this pop down, and right now there's just like, it just feels a little heavy.
Yeah, and like, it could. Dorman carrying an NQ short into the open on a 100-point pop in the pre-market. You got balls, son. I mean, they may
this could be a really nice play to the downside, though. I'll say that.
It may work out for you here. It may work out.
I do like that we are rejecting this 810 area on NQ.
Yeah.
That was it.
Really want to pull back to the +1 standard deviation. I think that, which especially if it ends up down here about 750, I think that gives us probably a 50 to 80 point move, depending on in either direction. If it gets to that point, just hard to buy at session highs. That's just something that was ground into my head early in my career. That's just, you know, like my mentor would yell at me when I would show her my journal and be like, "Why are you buying here? It's at highs." Well, I wanted to buy it. Well, let it pull back. 9 times out of 10, she was right.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it to myself and just see how this this first 5-minute closes, because
yeah, I will say this: the first 15 minutes this week, every day it's done like the least thing you've expected it to. Now we still have under 2 minutes. We could get a 30-40 point pop in this candle in either direction. But after this open, like a doji or doji-ish candle in the first 5 minutes of the New York session is probably the last thing I expected.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think if anything, actually, NQ might be the choppier one today. While ES is now pushing. We're hitting that. We just touched 6,000 on SPX here. Let's see if we can hold.
All right, I see Matthew asking how my dog's doing. I appreciate the question, and he's doing much better. So thank you for asking. All right, now we're getting that pullback. Dorman's going to be happy. I don't know where your target is, Dorman.
I think if we lose this 750 area on NQ, we do have some room to the downside. We do have some buyers sitting there on this Bookmaps chart that I'm looking at. So that would be, I would be my target essentially, depending on where you shorted, of course. But
yeah, 750 is a very key area of support in the pre-market. That's kind of where we stalled out a little bit after the initial move up on the jobs numbers. It's only in your head, though. Okay. Oh, okay. I missed that. I'm sorry. It's a mental pay. It's not even a paper trade. It's not even on paper. It's a mental trade.
Tesla's up 4.5%. Go figure.
Well, there was always going to be a bounce after yesterday. Like I said, the more time that Elon and Trump ignore each other, like what the feud wrapped up about, what, 6 or 7 o'clock last night, or at least they stopped taking shots at that point. And, if they go through today and nobody says anything else, then it could be, could be much ado about nothing. However, knowing those two individuals and seeing how they've traditionally treated perceived rivals, I don't expect that. I expect one or both of them to be on their phones in the next hour or so. I don't know if Elon's in Texas or California right now, but he's probably just waking up.
This is true. So one thing I will say, like from what I'm seeing so far, I know we barely just opened here. We just closed that first 5-minute candle, but what I really want to see is a potential failed breakout of this 6016 area on ES. But what will happen here is for me, when I trade ES and the Nasdaq, really, I like to look at how SPX is doing, and that gap fill really is it could be a really nice gap fill, which means that if we come down, we break down, say below like this 59.93 area on ES, we could start to enter that gap fill on SPX, which would make a really nice short. Now I wouldn't essentially enter right at this 59.92 area. I would actually wait until this 72 area broke. We still have this trend line that we held yesterday. So I would actually be looking for a break of this trend line as well for continuation, and then possibly entering this 3-hour zone, which, for me, I would probably get out by then because it's a strong zone. But that would probably put us in a nice gap fill towards the downside, which again, I would think that NASDAQ would be the more choppier instrument today. ES, like I said, looks a lot stronger, but NASDAQ we're still in previous day range. So that's the only reason I would say be wary of NASDAQ if you are looking at longs on the NASDAQ. I would actually rather play ES for a long than the NASDAQ.
Okay. Can I land my private jet on Matt's head? Hell no, there's way too much glare up there. You find a pilot that can land on that. That's really impressive. Sam says, I think they're both playing out a pre-planned drama. I honestly thought that at first too, until the Epstein comment. Then I was like, there's no way Trump would have greenlit that if they planned that in advance. So that's where I knew it was just too. I mean, listen, I'm not saying good, this person good or bad or whatever, but you've got one of the richest men, if not, I think he is still probably the richest man in the world, and the president of the United States. These are two people who don't get told no very often and don't get a lot of criticism that they can see, especially the people around them, right? I mean, most politicians on either side just surround themselves with yes men. We've seen a lot of that over the course of the last few years, especially. But man, that comment, that was long bottom. You're right. That's where I knew it was something else. And that's what we got to be aware of if that starts again today and starts pulling Tesla back down, because that could affect the NQ and the ES actually.
Getting a nice little move up here. This could very much be a gap and go play today as well. So if we do make this move to the upside and we hold this 616, I do like like I said, I like ES more for a long, but NQ I could see being the one struggling a little bit more today.
Okay. President Elon's origin story. Well, he wasn't born in the States, so SPX now strongly above 6,000. Man, I was hoping for a little stronger pullback into the open. At the 68, I really wanted to see down to 50.
Yep.
Hope they can make it. Honestly, I don't care. I mean, it's we all have our personal stuff and political beliefs. As I said many times, we don't bring that into trading. It's been a volatile year. It's been a fun year. So they can keep that going as far as I'm concerned.
It's actually funny just watching two grown men like that in very powerful positions just fighting on Twitter. Like, grow up.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I can
Oh,
tell you, if I
Lord.
had 0.01% of Elon's net worth, I'd be on a beach somewhere, and I wouldn't be anywhere near a
Man.
phone. I mean, kudos to some of these people that are out there doing what they do, and I'm not saying I like or don't like Elon or anything like that, but like, yeah, if you give me $1 billion tomorrow, my ass is on a beach somewhere.
For real. And actually, we might throw a poll up here in a bit as we're pushing into the market here. ES is pushing into that 6,016. We just made a breakout of this level here. Let's see if we can sustain it though. Let's see if we can get out of this range and actually hold above here. NASDAQ, like I said, NASDAQ still has some congestion to the upside, still stuck in yesterday's range, but I would be looking at ES. See if ES can hold. What I don't want to see is us fail this area and then just take out this whole move.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we just threw up a poll here. Which side are you on? Choose your fighter.
Choose your fighter. I feel like there should have been a third option here.
Yeah.
Like keep sniping and increasing the volatility.
Yeah.
It's favoring Elon so far. Okay.
All right.
Well, I mean, as traders, we're, a lot of traders, I don't, again, whatever your personal opinion on the guy, like he's been, especially you've been trading more than 10 years, you're way more familiar with him than you were Trump before Trump got into the national political stage, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Some of the tweets were just, they made me laugh because I'm like, we're really doing this on the internet right now. He's like telling him, or Elon's just like,
all right, Trump tweet here. Too late at the Fed is a disaster. Europe has had 10 rate cuts. We have had none. Despite him, our country is doing great. Go for a full point rocket fuel. I'll let everyone unpack that. But basically, he is escalating the fight. Too late is his new nickname for J Pow. So market's kind of shrugging that off so far, but Miriam, I think he's going to try and fire him after the next meeting, and I think that's going to set off a lot of volatility.
Yeah.
Which
the market's not going to like that.
Which is great. Like as day traders, right? We don't care. We want big market changing events. Even if we miss the initial move, there's plenty of moves to go after that.
Yeah. I'm getting these tweets too. I'm reading them. Too late at the Fed. A disaster, he says. Trump says rates should be cut by a full point. Yeah, I mean, Trump's definitely been at Daddy Powell's neck since we've really known it. But yeah, market doesn't like uncertainty though. That's one thing that I will say.
Correct.
Regarding the market is like, ever since we've gotten this pull shove of like, what are we doing with tariffs? That's essentially why the market has been so volatile lately, because uncertainty it's kryptonite. So, this is why, if you guys are wondering, like, it's not just because, we don't have a set, it's not just like two guys going on the internet and fighting each other. It's the market not knowing like what is going on or what direction the economy is going into, because we keep getting different types of news every single day. So right now, I mean, if I can look at it from a technical aspect, it does look like a good long, but I'm a little bit weary of where NASDAQ is sitting right now.
Yeah, it's getting up into an area that could be resistance. Although if we punch through that, there's not a whole lot of overhead resistance to new all-time highs. I just saw in my newsfeed that we're close to new all-time highs in the Qs and the SPY. So like that could be on deck in the coming months. I said the sell in May and go away crowd is going to be very disappointed. And I mean, I guess if they're playing for long term, sell in May and go away implies that there's not a lot of upside in the summer, which historically has been true. But for day traders, man, the last couple summers, basically every summer since COVID, has had some great up and down volatility movement. Summers have been really, really nice, at least for me over the course of the past few summers. He'd have to fire the entire board. They've all been in agreement. I mean, tell me where he's been, showing he wants to stick to norms. And I'm not saying that as a positive or a negative thing. I'm offering commentary here. And believe me, I'm just as sick as a lot of you guys that we have to talk politics and trading now. That wasn't the case for my first couple of years of my career, and then Trump comes along. But having to discuss that is not my most favorite thing. But at the same time, that is what we're dealing with right now.
Let's watch this 862 level on the NASDAQ. ES is getting some really decent buying pressure coming in. Again, stronger one to me so far. NASDAQ is looking strong as well, but I want to see ES really hold this level. The only thing too is, for me, I'm like, I want a little bit of a pullback. Ideally, like this 611, you could get maybe a possible early entry at this like 614 area to go long, but I'm not going to be chasing along over here, especially as NASDAQ is literally pushing into a form of resistance zone. So if you're in this and you caught this, congratulations. In terms of an entry, I would like to see a pullback.
All right. Mayonnaise, you never have to ask permission to ask a question. Throw it in there. And I do have to acknowledge Jordy. Bro, how does Matt have the most perfect bald head?
What kind of questions?
Baldy comments to say that's all right. I take a bunch of my own. They had to pair me with both a man and a woman that have really nice hair, right? And so I feel like that was Brett's personal joke. I think our first stream, our test stream, I was in between the two of them. I'm like, oh, come on, really?
Man,
so, yeah. And no, honestly, Gordy, I appreciate that. And I'm lucky that I don't look like a complete troll bald, because some people can't pull that off. Genetically, I was fucked either way. My dad was gray at 25 and white by 30. Full hair. I don't ever remember my dad without full white hair. And my entire mom's side of the family, which, genetically dudes take after hair-wise, bald in their mid-20s. So yeah, I was 25 and looking like I was 40. So I gave up the game at that point.
Well, you're spitting the knowledge though, at least. So at least you have that.
No, I don't. No, Jake, I don't baby oil the head. Actually, I need to shave it today. It's a little.
Is that a thing? Do guys oil their heads?
I'm sure they do. Some motherfuckers are so vain.
Do we do that?
Yeah. So Dorman, you're right. Our average hair length. This is a good statistical lesson for you guys. Our average hair length is about chin length. So when you would.
It's a nice little bob.
Yeah.
That's what they call it.
Yeah. No, it's it's. Well, that's the thing too. Is my fiance has very long hair as well. So like when we go out, it's like the nice long hair bald guy.
I love it. Well, after you answer what razor you use from Real Tony, I'm gonna get into these charts.
Oh yeah, the market trope.
No,
yeah.
So look at how we're rejecting this area on the NASDAQ. This is why I'm hesitant on taking any longs here. And for me, I'll be completely honest. I'm not really interested in a long on the NASDAQ at all unless we get above this level, which we still have about 100 points until we get above here. So we might not hit that on the stream, or we might just come back and just completely fail this and make a reversal. But ES is still above this level. So what I would want to see on ES here, I think NASDAQ, the level to hold would be that 810 level to make another move up. But I'm also, for me, the volume has decreased on the NASDAQ as we're making this move up, which is, we're still actually, we did actually create this first 15-minute opening range. So this is the range that we're dealing with so far. Let me just highlight this. But this would be what I would be looking at. I don't want to see a failed rejection of this on the NASDAQ, which we are kind of getting right now. So, but this is the range that we are looking at to break either to the upside or the downside. ES, that range is a little bit stronger. So let me highlight that on the ES here.
Mayonnaise Unicorn, you asked your question there. I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're digging into the chart. So I see your question. I'm going to leave it up on my screen so I don't forget. But just we're kind of at a key point here. So just give me a few minutes, please. This is the area here.
Actually gonna make it a little higher. I'm not gonna lie, I do like this break to the downside if we can get it. We're feeling a little toppy, especially on the Nasdaq. But if we can hold this 800 level, I think it would be a nice pop back up, depending on what I don't want to see is this candle completely just shoot down. I want to see a nice little drift back into this area, but that could be a potential long on the ES here. Let's see.
And by the way, I use a Gillette Pro Glide, so I didn't answer that. Sorry.
We all needed to know.
Another Trump tweet against Powell here. If too late at the Fed would cut, we would greatly reduce interest rates long and short on debt that is coming due. Biden went mostly short term. There's virtually no inflation anymore. If it should come back, raise rate to counter. Very simple. He is costing our country a fortune. Borrowing costs should be much lower. So it appears this morning Trump has turned his ire from Elon to Jerome Powell. Market shrugging that off so far. But again, I think if he takes action, and maybe this is the thing that tanks things on Friday. We saw the first couple nibbles of this apple back, I think in March or April. The markets reacted very strongly to the downside. I know Fed chairs, at least in my adult life, have always been popular punching bags for either side, to be honest with you. It seems the one thing that unites the left and the right in this country is their hatred of the Fed. But yeah, I would be very cautious of this.
We are getting some selling pressure coming in on the Nasdaq here. Let's see.
I know. I'm just sitting here telling myself, don't short it near highs. Don't short near highs. Don't short near highs.
Yeah, don't do it. Oh, sorry, guys. My screens are going nuts. Yeah, this would be a key area here. So let's see if we can hold. Yes, that level is going to be the 6,015. I will say I'm like itching for this short right now, but I feel like bulls are going to try to hold it.
Yeah, you know what? These moves have been a lot tougher to sniff out over the course of the last couple of weeks. It seems like a lot of these initial reversals seem to peter out. It feels like, I feel, especially where we're at on the charts here, it is very possible that they're trying to sucker in dumb money shorts. And again, I talked about this. That's one of the challenges of the futures market. You get into the stock and the options market, 90% of the time, big money is the smart money, almost by definition, right? That's not always the case in the futures market. Big money, you can watch people take big positions like that are funds and just get trashed. So again, you can't always just follow the increase in volume or increase in volume delta, etc. But yeah, it does feel the markets have been devious the last few sessions. They've done these little pullbacks at highs or little bounce ups at lows, and they suck in some of the opposite way traders, and then they run the stops.
Yeah,
if we punch back up above 865, I think 900 is on deck very quickly.
Let's see. Tuxedo Flux. Miriam, did you take any trade yesterday on the NQ when it just died? I absolutely did take yesterday's short. It's funny too, because like we come on the live and we haven't been getting like these really amazing setups, in my opinion. I mean, we get some here and there in the morning, which is unfortunate because I love trading in the morning and being done. But a lot of these movements have been happening in the afternoon, which, if you were here yesterday and you traded yesterday was a very difficult day to trade. I will say that. This was yesterday's chart. If you want to go back to my chart, Drew, real quick, but because Nasdaq and ES are not really doing much right now, but I just want to show the Nasdaq here because we had this resistance zone, and we kind of like flirted with this area here, the 700 area, but we did make this nice push down. Then once Tesla got that rejection, oh man, we just saw some blood. So I initiated a long right here at at this 762 area or 662 area, and then got the push up, but then we got the rejection. I took this break of the low afterwards, and then we got this move down, really nice move down to the downside. We almost touched this trend line in this demand zone here, which we very, very nicely bounced at. But now we're here. So this is the morning setup right now. I would like to see if this 800, 810 level is going to hold. Otherwise, if I just see a bunch of volume come in right now, I'm not liking this for a bull setup just yet. We are starting to get some selling pressure come in on book maps as well. So let's see.
If you get anything, Miriam, please interrupt me. But I just want to answer the mayonnaise question. It says, how do you guys deal with revenge trading and over leverage? We've been struggling with this for so long. And so, again, without digging down into your individual situation, it's tough for me to give very specific recommendations. However, I would say if you're revenge trading a lot, maybe consider a cooling off period after any trade, winner or loser. And guys, it can be 5 minutes, it can be a half hour. So if you have a nice trade to start the day, maybe you take a half hour cooling off period. If you're somebody who, and this was me when I first started as well, especially when I first got into futures, you take a losing trade and you immediately feel like the market owes you and you want a revenge trade. Again, maybe a cooling off period. Put some platforms have the ability to lock yourself out temporarily or for the day. Others, you just need to step away, but maybe a cooling off period. As far as over leveraging, reduce your position size. That's all I can say. Whatever your position size is now, and I don't know what it is, you didn't put that in there, and that's okay. Cut it in half. That's
I'm watching this level, by the way, this 800 level on the NASDAQ for a potential short. So just want to let you guys know. Yes. See how this candle saw the selling pressure coming in on the NASDAQ, but my only concern is ES right now because 6,010 is going to be that level to break to the downside. SPX also, like I said, I look at SPX. VWAP is sitting at that 6,000 level. So a nice, better entry if you're looking to take a short. I would actually be watching ES for more continuation to the downside, which will absolutely pull the NASDAQ. Right now, we are holding this trend line in the 9 EMA and that 810 level. So I'm not usually a trend line bounce trader. I like to take the breakout of the trend line. That's my more favorited move. But recently, we have been getting these nice bounces off these trend lines. So this could be a potential long. I would now, though, expect that bulls to take over and break us out of this level. Yes, same thing. I would want us to break out of this 625. We are now getting the buying pressure come in. So that was a very nice hold by the bulls so far.
Jonathan says, any live traders in chat close to your third payout? Congrats, Jonathan. If you're once you get live, make sure you talk to Coach Tank.
Oh, yeah. Let him know about Coach Tank.
Yeah, if you missed our show, when was he with us? Tuesday, I believe. Go back and watch our segment with Coach Tank. He is, I've met a lot of people in this business over the years. I've never met anyone quite a trading psychology coach and performance coach that has as impressive of a resume as Coach Tank does. And he's just so soothing to talk to with that damn accent, man. So
he really is.
Go watch that video. And once you get live, you get, I think, 3 free sessions with Tank. Don't use them all right away, but you should use one very, very quickly for a review of your performance and suggestions. Miriam, I learn so much every time we talk to him.
He's just a fun person to talk to, not just from like the accent standpoint, but he just has so much knowledge. He's worked with so many different types of people, anyone you can think of from all different sorts of financial backgrounds. And so he's definitely he's heard it all, but he's just so great to talk to. So if you guys have the chance to really speak with him, he has a really good way of breaking things down that might not make sense, but making it make sense in real form. So definitely speak to him or set up an appointment with him if you can.
TradeBit says, live with Tradeify, just had my second talk with Tank. Amazing. That's awesome. TradeBits, let me ask you a question. I'm sure he gave you a ton of great knowledge. What is the most important thing you took away from your 2 sessions with Tank? And I see Tanner there as well talking about journaling. Yeah. If you're not journaling, you're wasting your time. I'm dead serious about that. If you're not, if you're a trader, especially a newer trader, who's figuring out where your strengths and weaknesses are as a trader, and you're not journaling, you're wasting your time. All the stuff you think you're learning, you're not learning it as well as you think you do. And again, this comes from somebody who didn't journal and then didn't know what the hell his problem was, and had to figure that out over the course of about a year and a half. So
very nice hold by the bulls here. This is actually a very good hold. If you guys caught that long, this was a nice long at the 810 level. We are getting some volume coming in here to the upside, but again, I want to see 862 now break. I don't want to see us make a failed lower high and then start pushing down, because that's gonna push me to the shorts real quick.
Okay. Ian says, watching you two be patient has helped me stay patient in the open and make a correct trade. How can I thank you? Keep showing up, Ian. Keep coming. That's how you can repay us. Matt needs some guidance. 13 days in my funded account, still around 4K away from getting my payout. The reason I'm low in position size is one day you really hit due to a bigger position size. All right. Well, you know what you did, Top? You recognized the mistake and you corrected it. So yeah, you gotta dig out of that a little bit, but you didn't try to make it up in one trade. So that you're better than I was my first year. Boy, we're a little bit of indecision these last couple of candles here, Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense when you look at, again, when you look at the 1 hour, the 4 hour, this is right up in an area of consolidation. Boy, I'd love to see a breakout here, just from, pure market nerd perspective. But this is an area that I don't know that they have the juice to run us up to 900. I could be wrong on that. The markets prove me wrong on almost a daily basis, but it feels like this is kind of an inflection point. Boy, Elon with the runaway win in our poll today. That was
60%.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, we're traders, tech people. That's
Yeah, it's I feel like you either, the thing is when you get these tweets, these Trump tweets, it's very if you're on the right side of the market, if you're in a trade, you're loving it, right? You're like, yeah, go Trump. But then when you're on the wrong side, you are cursing him out. You are not happy. So definitely been on both sides, but that's why it's very important to set stops, guys. Very, very important. You never know what's going to come out and win. Selling pressure coming in hot here on both futures. I'm still watching this 800 level on the NASDAQ for a potential short. I do have the 2-minute here. I'm getting the volume. I just want to see this break.
I did see one of the best tweets of the whole thing yesterday that I saw, in addition to the Pride Month breakup one, was somebody that posted a text message they got from their brother who owns a Tesla. He says, damn it, now liberals and MAGA are going to be keying my Tesla.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Tuxedo, you're right. Trump tweets move the markets. Elon but Tesla moves the markets. Tesla is very highly weighted. We can look that up later. In the NASDAQ, and I believe the S&P as well. So it's a major market cap. So Tesla moves. Same thing with NVIDIA. NVIDIA moves the markets. Apple moves the markets. The big boys move the markets. It wasn't always that way, guys. It wasn't as much the Mag 7 are just, they are the markets now. I mean, forget everybody else is just, there's 7 and then there's a distant 8. All right, we're pulling back down here. Yeah, I'm with you, Miriam. I'm not ready to commit to a short below 800, but I want to see a test of 800 because that's where the bulls are going to have to maintain control, and that's where the bears can smoke them out.
Yeah, let's see what we get here. Still holding this 810 level, I will say, is a strong level on the NASDAQ. I had this on my charts from previously, but we're seeing it really play out very well today. So yeah, I think if we crack this level here, it'll help pull the markets down. SPX is very much flirting with that VWAP level, sitting at 6,004 area. So if we can come down and break that, and then 6,000, obviously it'll pull everything with it. Everything's related, right? So yes, that level is still that 612, 610 area, still holding. So far, making lower highs though.
Peril, where you long from?
I'm long here. Wish me luck.
that we've been in a market that's lulled us to sleep on occasion. We've seen this on this show, where we're whether we have a big move at the open or we don't, we get into a situation where all of a sudden we're throwing up like 5 or 6 very indecisive 5-minute candles, and then all of a sudden we break or pop without warning, right? Like it's not a break, retest and go. It's not a test an area, reject and retest and go. It's just you just go, one way or the other. It's just at like 11:37:20, right? Like it's there's really very little 5-minute to 5-minute structure with a lot of this, and that's been tougher for technical traders or for candlestick traders like myself. But yeah,
Oh wow, we just got a big buy order here. I don't know if it's a phantom order, possibly might be, but lots of buyers here sitting at that 810 that just jumped in, so that could help try to push this. If you're still in a long, I would just set your stop very tightly here, because if we come down and this is a phantom order, we might break it. But so far seeing some holds here on the 800 level. I'm watching this very closely, guys. Want to see if this is actually a real order or if it's a phantom order. It just like came out of nowhere.
On Bookmap there, they'll pull it sometimes when it gets right towards it,
Yeah, exactly.
I used Bookmap for a little while, and I probably will get it again at some point. But yeah, that was something that frustrated me, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like rules for me or rules for thee, but not for me, because technically spoofing is illegal, right? Technically throwing a big order on the board and having no intention of it getting filled is not legal. But now the key is they're doing this with their algos and their bots. So first of all, A, good luck proving it. And B, it's just like, hey, the bot did it. What are you going to do? Right.
Right.
So, yeah, I found in consolidation like this, more often than not, those big orders turned out to not be legit. And, so we'll be sitting at 800. There'll be a huge order at 840. We'll get to 837, and magically that order disappears.
Right. Yeah.
They still have an effect. They're still on the books, but it's there's more conviction on the MBO stuff when an order gets filled, right? Like it goes up to that order, it eclipses that order, and the order disappears, right? So that's where when you see those 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 clicks on the ES or the NQ and they fill, that's a really good indicator. It just seems to happen less and less.
Yeah, so we're squeezing right now. I'm thinking we're possibly going to get this break, but we're still making lower highs. I'm on the 2-minute on the NASDAQ, but if I go to the 5-minute here, we attempted to break into this this resistance zone, couldn't quite get it, got the fail back down to the trend line, made a lower high, failed it again. So right now, this is where I would wait. If you're long, you want to see a nice push up into this area. We need to break this 863 with volume. Right now, volume's not really it's not really doing much. We got this nice hold on the 655 because I'm on the West Coast, but it's going to be the 955 candle on the 5 minutes. So I would anticipate that bulls are going to hold this up, but I'm not really liking the lack of conviction that we're getting here, especially on the volume side. So I'm still watching this short, guys. Some of you guys might have entered, or some of you guys asked me where I would enter. The safest entry is going to be below this candle right here, this 804. So if you're looking at an entry, I would say like maybe 796, 798 area with a target of this 777 for a take profit. I would actually look for a break below this orb. So this opening range, that's going to be at the 769. Another key zone is going to be the 750. If we break 750, I think we see a really nice move, at least down to VWAP at 725. And then we could potentially take out this whole candle. So next level would be that 682 zone as well. But we would need a lot of volume. We would need a lot of volume to push us down here. And right now we're still holding that 810 level. So let's see if we get this push up from the bulls. If you guys took this long, actually really good setup, because you could have had a stop about less than 20 points to the downside. I wasn't too convinced on it, so I didn't take it. But that order is now gone. That order is now gone on Bookmap. So freaking trying to stop everyone else. So I'm saying.
Well, sometimes placing a couple of big orders, whether they're from a bot or from a person way above the markets, can trigger those HFTs and the algos to at least run 10, 15 points in that direction. So I don't think and this is stuff like, I'm just telling you guys some of the stuff that I know from being in this business for a long time. And I probably don't know shit compared to most, some of the people that are trading the trillions of dollars. So I can't even imagine what games go on behind the scenes. And guys, it can be overwhelming to think about. And I know, like when I first got into the options world or in the small cap, everyone wants to take their shots at the market makers. The market makers don't give a fuck about us. They really don't. The market makers does not care about our 2 to 3 NQs. And if you're trading on an eval, your orders aren't hitting the market anyway. It's, when you're in live accounts is when your orders hit the market. And the book guys, everybody in this stream right now could combine our total net worth, double it, and place it all in a single trade. The market makers still
They wouldn't do anything.
They wouldn't. They don't care. Oh look, they've got 20 minis. That's cute. That's.
Yeah. Still making these lower highs here. Man, we are squeezing, especially on ES. We are squeezing on ES.
We're squeezing. I think the longs are clenching right now, though.
Honestly, I would be taking my profits if I'm long here, or at least trail your stop. Trail your stop to break even or in profits wherever you got in. If you took that long at that closer to that 800, very decent long. You got at least 30 points out of this, so no reason to let your profits go red by any means. Especially right now as I'm seeing this move. Ooh, not looking too good, guys. Not looking too good for the longs. I'm sorry to say it.
I saw somebody in here is long from the pre-market from like 6 something. I hope you took partial profit. Yeah. Oh no, you were in one mini, so you can't take partial. It's why you go 10 micros instead of 1 mini. I know there's commissions, I know all that, guys, but when you catch a 100+ point winner like that, you could have 6 or 7 of those contracts off. Let the for really nice 4-figure win. Let the other 3 run to highs or whatever, or if they retrace a little bit, take smaller profit on those. Miriam, I am a full believer in scaling out of trades where I'm
totally
like 1 mini.
Might be entering the short here soon. I have a limit order, so let's see if we get filled on this. But yeah, you guys, this is why I say, like, if you're trading 1 mini, you're not really giving yourself a chance to get the full profit, right? Like you really have to you have to either trail your stop or take your full TP, which is why I always like to have multiple contracts. Like if you're taking 10 micros, that's equal to 1 mini. Yes, don't worry about the commissions. Don't worry about the commissions, because if you're in a really good setup, you're making profits well above the commissions to even matter for you. So for me, that's something that I like to let my runners run. For me, I take multiple take profits. I don't hold my full size position into one trade. I like to scale out of it, and that gives me the opportunity to capture a bigger move, because you can get paid really well on a mini if you're in a 100-point trade, right? So I'm sorry, a micro, not a mini. If you're holding 1 micro, you can really take some good profits out of that. And there's no reason, right? If you're very well in the profits, there's no reason to close that trade if you just hold that runner. So if you're obviously, take that with a grain of salt. Don't like get too greedy with it. But if you're in the profits, just keep trailing your stop. And that's kind of what's helped me stay in positions longer, because I don't have to sit there and babysit it and watch it. I can just set my stops and walk away. And if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, then keeps going. So that's the reason why I don't like just taking one position. I like to at least, if I'm in the minis, I'm going to take at least like 2 or 3. If I'm in the micros, that gives me more room to take more.
Okay.
Still making these lower highs here.
Yeah. So there's a question. 25K straight funded down to 24,046. Any advice on saving it? I'm assuming 24 bottoms you out on that and loses the account. Honestly, you got to go 1 to 2 micros to save that. I mean, if you only have $46 of I would go 1. I would try to get it up to 24,100, then try to 24,150. Give yourself a couple $100 of breathing room. Don't just YOLO in, because I know some people say, oh, well, just take 2 minis and well, yeah, but 2 ticks against you there and you're out. So I would, and that could just be, it can stop you out immediately if there's a move in a spread. So I would just go 1 micro, try to get it above 2250 or 24,250, and then try to save it from there, because those are, I love those accounts. I think they're great for experienced traders, but they're the most expensive, so you want to be very careful with those. Yeah, it's up over 600 just trading 2 MNQ this AM with no stress. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I love those kind of trades. Because the thing, I mean, that's how you should trade, right? You shouldn't be trading like all sweating bullets and, freaking out in the market. Like, you should be as calm as possible. And that's what I mean by, I always say this: if you're stressed out, you're positioned way too high. You're positioned way too high. You should not be, looking at your profits freaking out or losses freaking out. Oh my God, I gotta get out of relax, guys, relax.
Take a breath.
Your position size.
Breathe.
Take a breath, right? Like, say a little meditation, whatever it is that gets you calm in the morning. Drink your matcha, right? Like, take a deep breath and just, reduce your position size, because you should not be stressing out when you're in a trade. That is not the move.
So
like, even for me, I'm not like itching to get into a trade right now. We kept hitting that level, but I'm waiting, guys. I'm waiting for this level to come to me. We are not chasers, okay? We don't chase. We're not chasing or desperate or, coming in with that energy, because that's also a good way to lose money, right? If you're just like desperate to make money, you're just asking to repel the money from you at that point. So just wait for a setup, guys. Just let's hang out. It's a Friday, relax, and let the market come to you.
I see USA commenting on Mayonnaise Unicorn. That is a cool name, Mayonnaise Unicorn. I have no idea what it means or the thoughts behind it, but yeah. Kudos to everyone in the chat. Very positive chat. Good questions this morning. Keep them coming, guys. It's just us today. So this is your chance to ask a couple of experienced traders any of your questions. And of course, we can't promise anything we say is going to be, change nothing we say. Let me rephrase it. Is going to change your trading overnight. But if we can give you a few thoughts and a couple of concrete steps to hopefully turn around your trading. Guys, first of all, just admit to yourself, and Miriam said this before as well, like, this is hard. Like, this is not an easy thing to get good at. It's the hardest easy money there is, as the phrase and saying goes. I think Nick said that a couple times as well. So just be patient with yourselves, guys. Miriam always ends the show saying, tell someone you love them, which is obviously fantastic advice, but like, tell yourself from time to time too, right? Like, it's so easy to get down on yourself with your struggling. And if you're in your first 6 months of trading and you're not profitable, guess what? You are 99.9% a trader. So you're doing fine. 2 years, 30, 40 evals in, and you're still struggling. Now we need to change some things. Don't go into your 10th eval fail and do things the same way. Remember, what's the technical definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. So, after 3, if you get to 5, 6, 7 eval fails in a row, and if you're not really even close on a lot of them, it's time to step back and evaluate.
I like this question from Trabajo con Internet Thomas. I'm just going to call you Thomas. I've passed several evaluations, then do one good day, then blow my accounts, never gotten a payout. What can I do differently? You really have to ask yourself what you're doing to actually pass those payouts versus if that's transferring over into your actual trading. I think one of the things that kind of trips up a lot of traders when it comes to passing evaluations is they think, oh, I can just pass this in one go, especially, if you have an account that you can pass in a couple days, and you just try to pass it as quickly as possible without having that sort of brain connection with consistency. And so then you get into your, actual account, right? You pass the eval and you try to do the same thing. That's the issue here, right? You're not practicing consistency in actually trying to capture that eval, right? Or actually keeping the account. So you have to show yourself that you can trade this on, a consistent basis. That's why I always say with these accounts, if you're trading a $50,000 account, $25,000 account, you should not be trading the minis. Do not be trading the minis. Trade the micros, work it up slowly. Couple $100 here is plenty to get you where you need to be. So don't need to push it, guys. Like, you shouldn't be having these like massive days, right? Where you're making $2,000 and then all of a sudden you're losing 3. Like, it doesn't make sense. If you're not actually sticking to your plan, right? The number one thing you should always ask yourself about every single trade, right? Did I pass? Or did I make money on this trade? That's not what you should be asking yourself. You should be asking yourself, did I stick to my plan? Did I trade well, right? Did I stick to my rules? And was I confident about this trade? And these are the sort of things, that's why it's so important, journal in your immediate initial days of trading, because these sort of patterns will start to present themselves, right? You don't see these on a day-to-day basis if you don't have a record of your data. So you gotta ask yourself these questions. It's not, hey, did I make $1,000 today? No, because you can make money and still make a bad trade. It doesn't matter that you made money. Did you stick to your plan? Because even if you lost money and you stuck to your plan, that was still a good trade. So don't remove the monetary aspect of it and start looking at, did I stick to my plan? And I promise you guys, I promise you, you will get to that point. And as I'm talking here, we're making this move to the downside. So I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense.
Yeah. Interrupt me if you get into anything here, Marion, but I do want to answer Raphael Simeon's question. Before deciding to go full-time, do you have a certain amount of money saved up to cover bills and emergencies, like a set amount? Well, in that thing, guys, keep in mind, trading is a career. If you embark on a trading journey, you're an entrepreneur. You are founding your own personal trading business, whether you incorporate that or whatever. Like I said, I've said this before on the show, once you start having multiple withdrawals, we've got a Nick pick. Oh, that's great. We're gonna get that. We got to get that up on stream.
Oh, look at that.
But anyway, while we're getting that set up, I will say it's like you're launching a business, and they tell you to have about 3 months of personal expenses and maybe one emergency, like a couple thousand for an emergency set aside. But in all honesty, with trading, it's a little different. You can do it just a couple hours a day, whenever you can. You can watch webinars, you can read books, you can watch this stream. One of the things that we aim to do with this stream, guys, like, listen, when the markets are going good, we're gonna do our trades, we're gonna do the things that we do. But we want this stream to also you to be able to come back to it in the evening and see our guests and see certain segments. We're eventually gonna start clipping out really good things from the show and putting it up on social media. We'll get to that. We just wanted to make sure we sorry, guys, had to reload something there real quick. Just wanted to make sure we got everything up and running on the live stream first. But yeah, 3 months is a good place to start once you've had some success. Don't start going into full-time trading, I would say, until you've had like multiple payouts. So yeah, so as soon as Drew lets us know we've got a Nick pick. Although Miriam, this is a solicited Nick pick because I asked him for it yesterday.
Yes, this is true. This is true. But I love how, like, yeah, I mean, he's still wearing white, which I get it. You got to wear some sort of white.
There he is.
There he is.
Look at this dude here. Look at this dapper motherfucker.
Look. Snazzy. That is if you guys don't know, if you're new here, that is our co-host, Nick. He is not with us today. He is at a wedding. So that is a pic of him looking dapper AF. Look at you, Nick. Looking nice. Looking.
I don't know. He just popped in the thread. I don't know if he's watching, but if you are, Nick, well, go for it, man. Yeah, Green says, what a cutie. Yeah, absolutely. No white tee, but he's got a white shirt on, so he's not breaking his rules.
There we go.
Notice it's a white. He's not wearing a vest. So yeah.
I think he said he was the best man, though.
He is the best man. Yeah. So he's got to be. In fact, if you notice on our positions, that's what it says for him. So.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I just noticed that right now. Nice.
Mary, we're feeling heavy here. I think this could be it.
I think so too. Still some buyers sitting at this 800 level. So I'm gonna wait until we break this 800. I want to see volume really come in here. We're still holding this 810. So, but I think we might get the break, guys. I think we might get it.
I think it's coming. I'm eyeing up something there too. Wait, are we gonna agree on a trade? Good Lord.
Tradeify Nation exclusive, guys.
Yeah. Breaking news.
Matt and Miriam agree
at
on
a possible entry. I'm like you. I want to see 800 broke. I feel like we could. And see, this is the challenge with this, because you want to set. In theory, you want to set it as close to 800 as possible. But sometimes they run 3 to 4 handles below just to sucker in. So
yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, Jabbar, we'll do something with that pick. He's gonna regret sending that at some point.
Yeah, he might.
Now, Nick, if you're watching, enjoy the wedding. We love you. We miss you. We'll see you Monday.
Bye, Nick. We'll see you soon. All right, got really, really close to that 800, guys. Still not able to break yet. We do need the volume. We need the volume to come in here.
You seeing any big sellers below 800 on Bookmap right now?
Nothing major. I see 790, a few very light buyers at 790 and then 785. Below that, Nothing significant, honestly. Even that 750, which we might get if we do break this area, we might get some buyers coming at that 750, but nothing significant, honestly. So it's kind of why I like this setup as well. We are still making these lower highs, so you know, this might be something to start getting out of your longs if or set those tight stops, set those hard stops for sure, but yeah, not looking too good. We're getting a little heavy here. I think what would really convince me of this being a fake out is getting back above 840 on the NASDAQ. Yes, I would want to see us get back above 6,018, 6,015 area. We did open above the 9 EMA here on the NASDAQ. So let's see if we get that as well. We might actually get this. We might actually get this move to the upside. I don't know why bulls are flailing right now. Y'all are flailing. What is going on with you guys? All right, let's see. Let's see what we do here. This might be the break. Selling volume picking up here on ES. NASDAQ still holding 810. Buyers keep stepping in on that level.
Yeah.
What a wonky day so far.
Yeah. So I've just got news. We will have a surprise guest coming up here for just a short amount of time. So as soon as he's loaded in, we will bring him on.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like a break of this the low of this candle from 955 could be a nice little trigger here. I normally would not enter above an area like 800, but just based on where we are. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to set my short at 801.
Oh. All right.
I'm going to get aggressive here.
I like it. 800 is the key level here on Bookmap, so
that'd be 5 micros. I think I'll kind of wait to see if we get down there and fill before. I think my stop would probably be, again, small position size, so I'm okay having about a 25 handle stop, and I'd be playing for a move down to 750.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I'd probably
I might take a couple off at about 760, but I think if we break 800 with some volume, with 750 could be on deck. I will say if this candle goes high, if we break above 830, I'm pulling that order.
Yeah, I don't like that we keep holding these levels. These buyers keep stepping in. There's just so much indecision on NASDAQ. ES now kind of looks like a little bit of the weaker one here, especially with the selling pressure that continues to come in. I'm noticing it's a little bit stronger, but yeah, this 800 is going to be key. I still have my order here sitting, so.
James won a free reset, and he's 3 days green on his way to payout land. That's outstanding, James. Congrats, man.
Congratulations. I love that. I love it.
As far as individual strategies, guys, I know we've gotten a lot of questions on those. There'll be times we can break some of that down, but keep in mind, even basic strategies can take sometimes hours, 2 hours to explain. And I've done a lot of webinars and stuff over the years, so we don't want to give you snippets of something that you then like, well, you said this. Well, yeah, but this is really, a conditional type thing. So I just want to be careful with that. It's not always as simple as, break line, enter trade type stuff. So we do a ton of giveaways, Tomas.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going bald. Can I get a straight to sim funded, please?
That's awesome.
Oh, boy. All right. Filled here, guys.
I am also in. We are in this trade. All right.
So I'm going to set a little above 750. I'm going to go 755 for my target. And I'm going to go, considering the move there and where we are already, that allows me to basically set my stop pretty tight. I can set my stop at 820.
I have no idea why my account is not showing my positions. This is really, really frustrating.
All right, guys,
I got in
below.
my.
Go ahead.
I just took some off at 70 here, so I'm in 25 micros. So I took off half my size at 70.
Slide my stop to 810.
What?
I actually don't like getting in on this violent of a move because they've been apt to retrace.
Yeah, let's see what we do here. I want to see us continue below this 885 area. My stop is going to be at 827. I'm actually, you know what? Nope, I'm moving it to break even now. I want to see this actually flush. So I took off, like I said, I took off half my position here. So
my stop is also break evens is slightly green. I hate getting in on candles like that. Like you want the nibble and then you want the flush to get in on the flush. And I'm glad I had my order set and I'm happy with it. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of getting in on a just a volume big candle like that. Well, let me rephrase that. Traditionally, I love it because it means, you know, you're right on direction, you're right on time, and especially if you get in on the break like we did. It's just that's not been what these markets are. Every time we see a candle like this within the New York session, we seem to retrace it pretty quick. So, but I'm risk off on the trade now, guys. I'm completely risk off. So, barring bad slippage, which if I lose $10, it's not the end of the world. But
this is so frustrating that it's not showing my orders. I don't know why. Oh, you know what? All right, so 85, I want to see 85 break. I want to see us stay below this 85 here on the NASDAQ. All right, let's see here. I think I know why my orders aren't showing. Settings, positions. Oh, come on. It's not showing. All right, next level down is going to be that 753 area. That's where I'm going to be having a target. Just trying to figure out, guys, why my orders are not appearing on here. Very, very frustrated by that. But I'm happy to show you guys my...
All right, moving my buy stop to 790. Yeah, so guys, we're both in a trade right here, and it is time. You know, we bring them on, and the markets move as they always do. It is time to bring on our CEO, the Simba man, Simba Trades, Brett Simba. Let's welcome him to the show.
Oh, I'm Tanya.
Golf clap, golf clap.
Brett is Tanya today still.
There we go. Anyway, hey guys, how's everybody doing? How you guys doing today?
What's up?
I'm getting.
Yeah, we're in it. We're in it. We got in it today. Right at that break, same level. I think we both got in at the same point, if I'm not mistaken.
801.25 was my entry. Yeah,
so my stop right now is sitting at 798.75. So if I get stopped down on this, totally fine.
I just got stopped out for a small profit, so I will.
Okay.
I will look up the exact number on that. I think it's going to end up being like $90 or something. But those are great trades, though, Miriam. I don't like getting in on the big candle like that. But when you get an initial big move and you can go risk off, I mean, you guys talk about being stressed when you're in trades. You know, I sort of have I call it a guideline more than a rule. But if I get halfway to my profit target, especially my profit target like this one is about 50 points, we get 25, 30, I'm going risk off on the trade, because if I get an ATR reversal against me and I'm still in that trade and I take something that was, look, I mean, this thing was 8 handles away from hitting my profit target, and I end up like negative $300 on that trade for a position like this, that can't happen. So, you know, that managing, you can't manage like that. So for me, small win, we'll take it and we'll go from there. You eyeing anything up here, boss?
I just entered a long.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I like
all
the I
right.
like that
Where's your
swing.
long entry at?
It's pretty much right at the high of this candle right here. So I think I got in at 96. Yeah, I'm in at 96. Looks like. Yeah, 96. I took 5 micros to start. I want to get into 15 or so.
Nice.
But yeah, I like that we held that open. We kind of that big candle we just had, right? Because it
Yep.
closed 5 minutes ago. So this one just I'm on the 15 right now. This just opened a couple minutes ago. There was that. I don't know what was there a news? Because that was a pretty quick drop, right? It was like 2 minutes.
I don't know about, yeah, I don't know. I was watching book maps on that and we were getting a really nice rejection. So I was eyeing it eyeing it up, and I felt like if we were gonna get the break, we were gonna get it. So I had my order sitting there. 21,803.25 was my entry. Took some profit off at that 74 area. And now I just have my stop sitting at this 825. So I'm waiting here to see if we get the rejection and continuation to the downside. We might actually have a nice retest of this 808. And if we do get that, then we might get another rejection. But otherwise, your long might be working out very well too. So let's see.
Yeah, so I'm looking for. I just wanted to see this hold here. So usually when it holds on like a news spike or whatever, like a big dump,
I just
if
got
the following 5 minute closes, like it is about to right now, or it just did. Yeah, this 5 minute closes as a hammer, and it has similar volume. So like we have when there's a big flush, we have some volume that dropped before, and then we get a big pop up on the following 5 minute. As long as it's a bullish candle and it has some other type of confluence, like the opening range right here and the pre-market little bull flag we had, it's a good
Yeah.
long for me. So I like this
like
one, and
that.
I'm gonna actually size up if it breaks 832. Do another
this looks
5.
good. This looks good. Yeah, I got stopped out on that play, guys. Total profit for the day, I took 25 micros. 599.50 was my total profit.
Shout out my wife in the chat.
Where's she at? Hey.
Let's go.
This is Simba in the chat. Okay.
This is
This
Simba.
is
Yeah, there we go.
Simba.
This is Simba.
I like
That's
it.
funny. I remember like someone Spanish or I don't know, someone in another language like DM me once on Instagram, and they're like, "Hi, Mrs. Simba" to me, and I guess they meant to say Mister. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What's going on?" And then I was like, "That's funny. I should call my wife that."
That's awesome.
How you
Anyway,
feeling
yeah, we're
today,
starting to break
Brett? I know
up
you were
here.
a little under it.
Yeah, I was sick. I don't know. I'm just glad. Honestly, the last 2 times I've been sick like this, where it was like bad, lasted like a whole week. So I was just happy it was like 48 hours. I feel like my body feels fine now. It's just like I'm a little. I mean, my voice probably sounds like I'm just a little congested, but I'm sure it'll be fine by like Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, the past 2 times has been like a whole week thing, and like the worst thing is when you have like a little one, like it just spreads to everyone, right? It's like eventually everyone's gonna get it. So he hopefully won't get it, but my wife told me today that he might have it. So hopefully not.
Oh.
We'll see. That's the worst, because then that night is just so bad when they try to sleep.
Yeah. How old is he?
He is 20 months.
20 months.
days
All right, a
ago,
little
yeah.
over a year and a half.
I know, I'm
then.
in the months. I think we said this last time. I think you stopped saying months at 2, maybe 3.
Oh, is it? Is that the rule? I don't know. I'm not a mom.
When
Sorry.
you stop saying months, let me know, chat, because we're still new to this.
My child is 28 months. It just
Yeah,
sounds
20
crazy.
Yeah, like until they're 35 months, right? Instead of 3.
I'm a few hundred months, I think. So
That's great. So what's your target on this, Brett? On your longs?
Yeah, I'd like to go up to the 50s. So like it's weird because I'll add if we break these 30s, but I'll probably trim it right away for 20 points. Because then we're getting towards these highs. We're not sure what's going to happen there. But I was watching. I usually have all the other NQ stocks up. Well, these are all my share positions right now, but I just cycle really quick through the NQ, main NQ stocks, the Mag 7, so to say, right? Apple's had a big move. I don't know why. Well, I think the whole market maybe popped at the open, right? But Well, no, it didn't. I don't know why Apple had this big surge at the open, but it's coming back down. Apple's at probably the GP golden pocket here, so I figured maybe we'll get a bounce there. Amazon's holding kind of similar to the NASDAQ. Google's, probably relatively stronger, it looks like, than all the other names, although it did take a little beating the past couple days. I think they had some news out there. And then
any Tesla calls off the drop yesterday?
Yeah, so I was about to get to that. So Microsoft holding, Netflix, they just hit all-time highs yesterday. They're just flat. Nvidia's pumping up here. And then lastly, Tesla, right? So Tesla just got that big candle. So I actually bought TSLL. So lately I've been playing around with, instead of options, just because I don't have as much time to like really watch it like super intently, even though I really am still. It's just easier for me to play like these 2x leverage plays. So TSLL is basically 2x leverage Tesla. So if Tesla goes up 5%, this goes up 10%. If Tesla goes down 5%, this goes down. So I bought some of this yesterday. Actually sniped it pretty fucking hard. I think I'm in at like somewhere around 950, something like that, somewhere around here.
Wow.
I gotta see the exact entry I got. So yeah, I mean, it's up just from 950 alone, to where we are now, 13% on equity. So that's pretty good, to get on a stock in like one day. So, you can go a little bit heavier too, because it's shares. I do not recommend, if you guys are looking into leverage stocks, don't hold these for weeks or months. I'm not going to go into a super lesson why, but they have decay, and just because if a stock's at all-time high, it goes down and it goes back up to all-time high. On these 2x and 3x leverage, you're actually going to be down, because you're basically it's kind of like the futures contract. When it rolls, it's usually a couple points off, or I forget, drops or goes up. That's because you can't just DCA into oblivion and on a leverage product and always be up at the end of the day. So there comes an additional risk with trading leverage products. So anyway, kind of sidetracking here, but I like that we got a little bit of a bounce up here on Tesla. I'm hoping that we get that Trump Musk call maybe over the weekend or something. I saw I don't know if you talked about it, Matt. I saw there was like a tweet, like some people think it's like planned. Did you talk about that conspiracy? I don't know if you mentioned
We
that.
did. Somebody brought it up, and I said as soon as he brought up Mr. Epstein, that's when I knew it was not.
Yeah. That I agree as well, because that's a bit like too far, right? It's like, I don't think if you were trying to make this a little media thing, if you drop that big of a bomb.
Well, yeah, and Elon attacking his performance as president, or Trump attacking Elon's performance as a CEO, that's business, right? They've both done that to themselves or other people. Yeah, when you go personal on that level, especially knowing that's something that's been out there for a while and been a big part of that side of the media machine. Yeah, that's not planned. If it was, he went off script.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but yeah, we'll see what happens. To be honest, I didn't read the whole bill. Probably should take a look at like what's all in it and everything. I know obviously it's increasing our debt, and they got rid of the EV mandate, and they what else is the main pain points there? That was
if you didn't read it, don't worry, neither did anybody who voted on it, so it's fine.
Yeah, that was the fucking thing I saw too. There was a big thing, like I forget the woman that they were I saw some clip from Newsmax or something. They were like, she's like, I didn't know that this line said this. I would have actually vetoed the bill instead. And it's like, you're not reading like the biggest bill of the year. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there you go.
To be fair,
I size up 5 here. It did break that 830.
All right, so you're in a little heavier. To be fair, I've known a few reps over the years, and like I know they don't have time to read a foot, but you have staff that does that and can give you a sheet that has the bullet points. Like, so if you're a deficit hawk, you should have at least known the deficit part of it, or if you're I think the big thing that they have going on now is the Palantir thing. And the data that's going to them. And so, people that obviously now are against things like the Patriot Act and stuff like that are saying, wait a minute, this is kind of a surveillance state. We're really not in favor of this. And so
Mhm.
I don't know, but yeah, just to say you didn't read it, just say, hey, you know, it's a 400-page bill. My staff, provides me with summaries. You know, do like a politician and blame it on somebody else. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna move my stop break even just because.
But Elon coming out against it means it's probably not going to pass anyway. So
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Or actually, my stops now. Let's see. My average. Oh yeah, 816.
Nice long there. What is that, like 70 points, 40 points, 40 to 7? I don't even know what your entry was.
I don't even know what was my original entry because now I added, so it's different. Here, 96. So that's yeah. It was 40 points at the highs here. 40 points. Yeah.
Very nice. Give it up for Brett, guys. Getting that long while we're shorting. Your long stopped me out. That's
I like
sure.
the short. I loved you guys played this. You basically played this flush, right? I was kind of logging on while you entered that. I'm guessing you just played the breakdown of these wicks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I finally figured out what was wrong with my charts and why my executions weren't showing. I was trading MNQ and I was showing NQ. So finally got those on here. But yeah, that'll be something I have to get used to on here because I typically only look at my NASDAQ chart. And TradingView doesn't like to show MNQ positions on the NASDAQ, which I guess that makes sense. But nice long here, both shorts and long.
Figure yours out. I have mine. I don't know. We'll figure it out after. I'm trading. Yeah, I mean, I just got stop break even, but again, I was kind of just wanted to do one for the stream. But if you were in one mini there, probably would have been a nice profit to take there. I don't know. I think I was up like 300 at one point, but anyway.
What was your position size on this play?
That was 10 micros. I'm just trading micros. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What's your recommendation for that? I mean, do you like, for anyone that's out there, I know we've gotten so many questions based off like, you know, I have this account, you know, I want to make sure that I'm building it to consistency. Like, do you have a certain rule for like when you switch to trading minis from trading micros, like any sort of account size that you typically want in order to feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking prop, right, which I'm sure 90% of people here are doing, of course. I think you should always start with micros in this market until you get towards you really don't even need, excuse me, I don't even think you need to get, I'd say like anything above 3 minis, you probably don't have to use micros, right? So if you're sizing 2 to 3 minis, you're better off doing 20 to 30 micros because you can trim, you know, 6 times 5 contracts if you have 30 micros, right? Or you can trim 3 times 30 contracts, right? Instead of if you have 2 or 3, you can only trim like once, right? So like,
right,
you know, at that point it gets a little iffier. And I know Matt, right before I came on, he said, you know, about a lot of people like to complain about the fees, right? But literally, I think it's 1 point. What is it? 1 or 2 points? It's like 2 points basically. 1.5 or 2 points pays for all of your fees. So like, if you're good, you know, I'm pretty sure most people are hopefully taking home at least 20 plus points per trade here. I don't think anybody should be aiming for 5 to 10 point scalps in this market, because at that point you're looking to get killed. You know, God forbid there's a death candle for you, right? So you kind of need to go for those smaller positions, wider plays. So I think micros are fine. Yeah, you're going to be down right away if you're trading, you know, 20, 30 of them due to fees. But again, you're just paying it forward, you know, to be able to size out of that position or even size into the position. If you're looking to start with 5 or start with 10 and ramp it up to better help yourself in the long run, because again, you're able to trim or scale in at the right times rather than panic and say, oh, I only have 2 minis. If I take one, I'm going to lose half the profit. You have 20 micros, you're able to take off 5, right? And then it's not as bad. You're not cutting your position in half. You're only cutting it in a quarter, et cetera, right? Just gives you more room to manage the position and more options to manage the position, which I think a lot of people need, because you see a lot of great traders. I know you guys had Rake on, and I talk with Jake all the time. He likes to also hold to like his full target or look at different things, right? So if you're holding to that full target, even though if it gets close, maybe you want to take a trim off, but you don't want to close the whole position, right? So again, I think it's important to try to stick to micros, especially in the beginning. If you ever get above 3 contracts or the amount of 3 contracts for minis, then maybe just use minis, because I think you can just use 4 minis at that point. But from there, I think micros is the best. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, I've always said if the commissions are the difference between you being a profitable trader and a not profitable trader, you're not a profitable trader.
Perfect sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You see Miriam, or?
I totally agree. This is something that we talked about earlier today, before you came on, and I said the same thing. Like the commissions shouldn't matter, but the reason, even for me, like in some accounts, I take my normal position. Like in my personal account, I take anywhere from 5 to 10 minis, and that's just my personal account. But when I'm trading a funded account, I do not trade anymore. Like 25 micros is probably like my max, especially in a funded account. In this market. And someone even asked me, and I'll just answer. I was going to answer it in the chat. Taylor, you asked, how do you take 25 contracts with a 20-point stop? 20 points is my average loss, right? But I have to position myself for that, right? If I'm willing to take a 20-point stop, I don't want to be, or even more, like a 30-point or 40-point stop. I have to position myself for that. So I took 25 micros on this position, and for me, I got about 30 points out of this trade. So, it was about a 1.5-ish to 1 trade, but I was hoping for a bigger move. But that's why you have to position yourself for these sort of trades. You don't want to have like a 40-point stop with just like a 15-point risk. So or a 15-point target. So you just got to make sure like you know what you're losing, but you also what you could potentially be making out of that. I think the biggest thing is knowing how much you're going to lose, though, and being okay with that loss if you're wrong.
Agreed. I got stopped to the fucking tick, by the way. If you switch back to my chart real quick, Drew. Literally, like, back tested it right here. I got stopped at 16, like right here, right at that wick, and then it just popped right back up. Well, we'll see. I think it looks pretty good here. A lot of resistance here, and then it is Friday. We're coming off a big move. We went up what was the data today, Matt? Was it NFP?
Yeah, non-farm payrolls came in slightly higher than expected, but not so much that it was a huge deal, although it did pop the markets quite a bit. Yeah,
I think it started it off, at least kicked it off, maybe switched sentiment a little bit, right, for the day. And, I know there was a big sell-off due to the Tesla crash. Yesterday was, what did it end up? Let's see. What did Tesla end up down yesterday? I'm curious. Was it 15% more? Let's see.
I don't even want to talk about
14.2, right?
Yeah.
So, that's a big hit to the NQ. And I know people who made a killing on that yesterday. The funny thing is those tweets started coming out. It was only down 5%.
Yeah.
And then it was like an ex-girlfriend battle on there. Yeah.
I think when Trump suggested taking away Elon's subsidies is what tanked Tesla.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that was pretty crazy. And then JP Morgan and even Ross Gerber, who's a big Tesla investor, one of like the biggest individual holders. They both made comment. I think Morgan Stanley said like that it's a 1.8 billion, maybe 2.8 billion hit if they take away those subsidies to Tesla. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's basically the difference of them making a profit each quarter and not, which is a big deal, because also now that they're in the S&P, right, they need to maintain, I forget what it is. I think you can't have more than 3/4, something like that, or otherwise you get knocked out. So, don't expect them to take a huge, hit right away. I think it was more of like a flush and then pop up. But if they do cement some of those actions, again, like taking away that credit fully, and then, going back and forth fighting with each other, then it can escalate and see more downside for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm sure we'll get that into next week.
The other story this morning with Trump is he's had multiple tweets now going after Jay Powell. So what's kind of your read on that?
Yeah, I don't think, I did see he said that he won't fire him. I don't think it's a good
He
look.
says
I know
that.
I know at first he wanted to, and then he went back and he was like, I don't have any plans to. I don't think he will ever. I think he wants to like say that he will as like a fear thing, but I don't think Powell even cares. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think it would be a good move to fire Powell. Too uncertain. A lot of uncertainty then, right? Powell, like, I mean, he doesn't exactly provide the best insight into most of his moves, but at least he's kind of maintained things for quite a while. And, I think markets are adjusted to his uncertainty levels, right? But if you get someone new in there, you got to kind of adjust to how they say things, right?
Right.
So I think there's that. But again, I think I don't know when the next, I think it's in the middle of this month. When's the next, what's the
I
data?
will go look that up right now.
You know what I'm talking?
Fed meeting, yeah.
Yeah. When's the next minutes and Fed meeting? I think that one will be a crucial one because that's going to be the mid-year, right? That's the middle of the year, and this will be a full, maybe, I don't know, when was Liberation Day now? Are we a month out or 2 months out? Let's see. It was
We have a next FOMC statement coming out on June 18th.
April 4th. So it's been 2 months now since Trump's tariff thing. So that'll probably give some good insight into how the global economy has been making moves since. Because remember, any announcement, anything like that, the Fed isn't going to see immediate impacts to the numbers for at least 30 to 60 days, right? At the least, because it takes a while for those things to impact the global economy. So I think it'll be crucial to see when it is. Sorry, when did you say the date was?
We're 12 days away from the next Fed meeting, so it was 2 weeks from this past Wednesday. Drew, if you want to put up my screen very quickly, I'll show you this little Fed Watch tool. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, I follow this pretty well. So it's just on the CME. Just search CME Fed Watch tool, and it gives the countdown to the next meeting, and it gives the probabilities for rate cuts or rate holds. So obviously, right now they are projecting a 96.6% chance that the rates do not change. And actually, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Brett. I think after another meeting or two without rate changes, I think he's going to try and go after him. I don't, we talk about the legalities and people say, well, he can't do this or can't do that. I think he's going to try. Now, what's the end result of that? I don't know, but I think he's going to at some point. So we'll see, especially if they don't cut the next couple of meetings.
I'm sure there's betting odds on Polymarket. I don't know if you guys
I'm sure there are.
Polymarket. Yeah. They definitely, is Powell going to be fired? I know they got the rate. Even on Robinhood now, you can bet on the rate change, what it's going to be. Which is
Interesting.
Crazy. Yeah, you can do that. You can do not bet. It's actually a futures contract. So you basically pay
binary contracts. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pay 60 cents to make 40 cents per contract. So it's kind of like, or it fluctuates. It's like a bit. There's a bid and an ask for it, literally. So it's pretty funny. I remember I bet on the election, and right before the assassination attempt and all that with Trump, I think it was like he only had like a 35 or 40% chance, and I think I got in around like 40 cents, and then like a week or two after that, it was at like 65.
Oh my gosh,
rolling. So, I was like, let's go. I mean, I just held it. I don't know, put in like 1,000 contracts or something, $1,000 bucks. But anyway, it's pretty funny that like even companies like that are getting into the, I don't want to say betting, but betting space. So. Speaking of Robinhood, there's a S&P rebalance at the close today. I think I posted that graphic a while ago. I don't know if we still have that somewhere, Drew.
So you brought it up here, Brett. I just saw on my news feed an announcement from X, formerly Twitter. It says, we're joining forces with Polymarket as our official prediction market partner.
Oh, wow.
So
see, that would be cool if you can just do it right through X. I think he's working on doing payments again through X, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, anyway, the S&P rebalance is today after the close. There's a couple candidates on there. Top ones are like Robinhood to enter the S&P. So you always see a big pop up in whatever stocks are added, and you'll see a big drop in whatever stock is kicked out. So that'll be interesting to see. Robinhood's funny, actually. I'll just pull it up real quick. We're actually back towards the initial IPO here. You guys remember that big? Well, I don't know if you guys
Yep,
saw
I
it when it
remember
first
that.
came out, and then they turned off the buy button,
Yep.
and everybody hated the stock. It dropped all the way down to $8. You know, you got to admit though, it was a great buy down here. It's the best app with the best UI for new, even, you know, I don't want to say experience, but maybe mid-level traders as well. And they've been adding tools for it, some advanced stuff, but the UI and everything's really slick for new investors to get in. They're more of a tech and UI company rather than a broker, in my opinion. But they've been adding some great things like credit card and 5% APY on cash. So I think it's the best in the industry, really. So it's crazy to see like this U over the past 3 years.
That is actually insane. I remember that IPO and everyone just look at that tail. Just look at that tail. That is absolutely insane. But
yeah, the dump was crazy. It was just it's continuous from there.
did you
right?
participate in that?
No, I did the meme stocks and stuff. I wasn't playing I wasn't playing the stock. Actually, I think I might have got some shares at IPO, but I probably sold them fairly quickly. Whenever I get an IPO stock, because you can pre-order the shares kind of and get a pre-purchase pre-IPO price, which is typically, you know, I think, let's see, the IPO'd here, they came out on the market at like 35. The IPO price was probably in the 20s or something like that then. So, you know, as soon as it releases, you usually get like, it's almost always usually a good 2x, as long as it's a decent company. And then obviously there's a massive sell-off. But, you know, a good example is actually Webull. They did, this is even worse.
Oh my god.
Webull came out. They went from $13 all the way to $80 almost, and now they're at $10.90. I just bought them yesterday, actually. So
You did?
yeah, I like to buy anything that if I think it's a good company, I like to buy the stock when it gets back to the pre-IPO or initial IPO candle. So this $10, $11 range for me is right where I want to buy. So yeah, I mean, I like Webull too. So anyway, back to futures. Sorry guys,
No,
I know.
It's a Friday. We can go off on a lot of tangents on a Friday. By the way, to answer the question in the chat, why is Nick best man? Because Nick is literally, I believe, at this very moment, a best man at a wedding. So, so yeah, he's out today, and he is the best man.
I thought pre-IPO you had to hold for a certain time period. You only have to do that if you're like an insider. If you're just purchasing it on the open market, you're fine. That's if like you're employee of the company and they gave you shares like, I don't know, months or years or maybe even right before the IPO.
Unlocking periods, yeah.
Real special rate. Yeah. There's actually, it's funny, Gandalf and I, we used to use a strategy. I'm going to pull it up here. What's the website? Shit. See if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. This is what I used to do when we would trade options, all right? So we would go, I don't know, is this clear?
Oh, yeah, I've seen this before.
Yeah, so basically it shows you the upcoming lockup period expiration. So what this basically means is, let's see if I can show do large caps so we can see if there's any big stocks. I don't know. I don't even know these ones, but maybe somebody does here. Anyway, these are like some big stocks that are coming up to the expiration date. So this basically means like insiders or employees, different people who have had, who got shares initially at a certain price. So, I mean, this one's not too good of an example. Let's try to go to something else here so I can show you guys. All right, here's a good one. So this one, Carmen, I don't know what that is, but anyway, the initial share price was $22 that they got them, right? And they've had these shares, they've been unable to sell them as insiders, 506 million worth, excuse me. They've been unable to sell them since they got them. So now the expiration date of when they can sell is coming up in 2 months. So typically leading up until this date, there will be a sell-off because people anticipate these insiders to sell their shares. They obviously, they made 2 times their money for free, right? So you want to take some off the table. So typically there's a big dip about a week into and, you know, a day or two, a week before rather, and a day or two into this date. So Gandalf and I, we used to look for big cap stocks like this and play put options about a month before for 2 months out and capture some pretty good premium on those, or maybe we'd play the pre-run up, because sometimes there's actually buying and acceleration into it because they want to try to prop up their shares so they can sell it on that release date. So little cool strategy, just reminded me of that.
That's actually really interesting. So do you still utilize the strategy? I know you still trade options.
I haven't done that in years, maybe. I don't know, maybe years, definitely years, at least 2 years. But it's cool. It's cool to see, because there's big. I mean, we didn't see anything on there, but like, because another thing too is a lot of the companies that we trade now they've been out for a couple years, so there's nothing coming up. But there were companies on there like Robinhood, Zoom Info. I don't know what some of the newer companies that have come out and done some IPOs and releases are. But anyway, there were a lot of big companies that a lot of us trade now or see publicly that don't have that anymore, simply because the lockups are already, a couple years old. So
yeah.
Anyway, hoping we get this pop here now. It looks good. We're consolidating right above that retest of that trend line. Excuse me, and we're holding that 830.
I love to see a trend line on your chart, by the way.
What'd you say?
I said I love to see a trend line on your chart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty easy one, right? Pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
it looks good. I'd probably get in. I might take another long here. I'm breaking. Yeah, I'm gonna take one here. See if we can get a pop. What time is it? 11. Stay on here, maybe another 10 minutes or so. Let you guys close it out and everything. But I think we'll get hopefully another move to the upside. We've been getting some moves too. Let's just take a look. I wonder. Right after you guys get off, we're getting some big moves. I mean, it is. Get off a little bit early, right? So that we get off right when that lunchtime hits, and then right after that, it's typically when there's a big move.
There's been some good afternoon trading recently.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Yesterday was that right after you guys got off, boom, death, right? That's when it all started, though, the tweets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Day before was chop. This was a good session, straight up on Tuesday. Yeah, about half the sessions you guys have been doing lately have been a lot of chop. Really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Really hard
We've been joking about it. It's not a Tradeify TV episode without some barcode trading in the middle of this.
Yeah, you got to have a barcode to scan here.
Crazy action we're getting on Bookmaps here, but so far to the upside.
Don't trade Bookmap too much. What's it looking like?
It helped me a lot in this trade today. Just seeing some of the orders. We were talking about it earlier.
Oh, whoa! All right, there we go. So that's where I'm gonna just take 3 off, right up there, and those highs, and then yep. All right. Nice. I didn't actually get a good fill there at all. I did not have my finger on the trigger. I got filled at 850. Terrible.
What was your entry? I didn't see it on there.
My entry 837. I tried to take it off there at 66 when it popped up. I didn't have an order. I didn't think it was going to get there. I wanted to see some action. I don't know what that was. That was a big 1 minute spot. Whoa. Big 1 minute candle there. A lot of volume.
Only news piece that just came across. China grants export licenses to rare earth suppliers of top 3 U.S. automakers.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's nice to see the order flow on here. I'm noticing that you have volume by price on the side there. Yeah. Does that help you in your trading? Do you usually have that up?
100%. So I'll usually use like the 15-minute. Let's see what it's showing here. I'm sure the VPOC is right here. Yeah, so we have, the opening range so basically this is a volume profile, right? So how it works, guys, is essentially it takes the available data, so what's being shown to you, and it will adjust the volume based on what data you are currently displaying. So you'll see if I go like this, it's going to change, right? If I go like this, it's going to change because it's only factoring in the data that's on the screen. It takes a couple seconds to update, by the way, so be careful of that if you are new to using this. So,
and what is that tool called?
So on TradingView, it's called VRVP, volume range, volume profile. My favorite, actually. And the simplest way to really explain it is these are going to be, if you're above this big line here, it's a support. If you're below it, it's a resistance, right? It's basically labeling key volume areas, right? And they almost always line up with other points of confluence. So you'll see like this line here, this red line, you'll have to see it on the style. This is called the POC, so it's the point of control, which means it's the highest volume. So rather than have this red line, if I took it off, you'll just see there's just a giant, it's the biggest volume here. So, but I put it on there just to see where it is. But anyway, typically I'll have that. If you have something that holds here, it's usually going to be a good long to the next level, right? Or if it breaks one of these, you know, and it breaks out here, you can typically long it to another level. It doesn't work too well, obviously, when you're at like all-time highs, because there's no volume profile in the imaginary world of price above there, right? But when you have a lot of action, especially when you're in a choppy market or you're in like a lot of sideways action, you can see where those levels will hold in addition to just the candlesticks themselves. So I like to use it to just base on volume and play from zone to zone, level to level.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good tool. I mean, I like to use volume, but I really do like the volume by price more because it shows where the action is actually happening, at what price the action is happening. And I know some traders use the distribution of like, oh, it's a P profile or a D profile, and kind of validate their trades based off that. But really cool tool to get into. And I know a lot of successful traders that use volume by price to trade with, actually, as like their main trading style. So
yeah, I mean, it's just a really good confirmation tool, or just secondary support kind of thing, right? So it just helps you validate whatever bias or trade that you're going to be taking with another level of confluence. I like to say there's 3 points I want to have before I take a trade typically. You know, that could be a pattern combined with an indicator combined with price action. You know, what is this candle that I'm entering on doing? What did the candle before do? You know, so those are like 2 things I'll use as one. What pattern are we in is another. Is there an indicator that I have? Is there another indicator? You know, maybe I'll have volume profile combined with a golden pocket, or the opening range with a breakout candle, with the candle before that was a reversal candle, right? So I like to have at least 3 to 4 of those criteria, or I guess criteria in my personal playbook that I look for before I enter a trade. For most of them. Sometimes, you know, if I want to take a stab at something, it has two things of criteria, I'll just size down or whatever. But typically that's how I do it. What do you guys look for entry? Do you have like a checklist kind of like that, would you say? Or
yeah, for me, I like exactly what you said. I look for 3 areas of confluence would be probably my best form of getting into a trade. I'm a huge trendline break trader, so trend lines are big. I like to use certain indicators and along with volume. So if all 3 of those, along with support and resistance, are like in line with each other, that's where I really find like an A+ setup, for example.
yeah,
And
A
so
plus. That's the best way to rate it, right? It's like, how many of those do you have? What grade? Based on how many you have, you can give it a grade.
yeah, exactly. What you said you used the golden pocket for the first trade that you took? Can you walk us through that?
No, I didn't actually use it for that
Oh,
one.
you didn't use it. You're just like long.
No, that one was mostly. So this one was mostly just because it this news or whatever this big dump candle was, right? Let me go to this is the 5. It retested that opening range right here, and this is also the pre-market level where we broke out. So once this one held, and then the next candle was a hammer starting to form, that's when I entered. I think I entered at like 10:34, which was right when this candle was about to close. So this is an easy trade for me. Something like this, you basically, if this candle, if you're entering somewhere right when it's going to close or right when it closes, you're basically just putting your stop below the wick.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's the simplest one to actually have a plan for, and those work out pretty well. And then again, I was just looking for a move back above these highs, and you know, we got that move. I added up here and then got stopped literally to the tick here, but
I like to hear you talk about checklists and stuff like that. It's something I've often told beginning traders that they should have. The methodology I've always used is, as I say, it's CTE. It's bad if you're a football player. It's good if you're a trader. Checklist, trigger, entry. You have your checklist of prerequisites, things that need to be satisfied before a particular play. Your trigger, that trade is live, we are go, and then your entry. Is it a limit? Is it a market, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this can be a lengthy process for a newer trader, and by the time you figure it all out, maybe maybe the move is gone, but eventually you do it enough, it's in your head. The whole process takes 3 to 5 seconds. But yeah, I always think especially for newer traders, there should be specific things that they're looking for, and if those criteria are not met, you don't make a trade. That's what leads to A trades, A+ trades, and things like that.
Yep. Plan a trade a plan, right? Otherwise you're gonna be stuck degenning.
I guess, like, because you talk about sorry, so you talk about the golden pocket. Is there a tradable setup for the golden pocket in this? Because usually you just take like the highs and the lows and look for the fibs on that.
Yeah, so for here, the only thing I could excuse me, draw is these lows to this high. So the only thing that, let me just get rid of everything else. So the only thing that I could see really here is if, maybe we get a move back down to here and then we pop up. But I wouldn't even want to take this one simply because we've already been here once. We've already been here twice. Third time, how likely is that, right? Especially on a Friday. By the time we get towards here, it's going to be 12, 1 o'clock. I don't know. It's a little iffy. If it was a different day of the week, maybe. But like, to me, this isn't a tradable golden pocket anymore. This one here, let's just say if we use the replay feature, right? So if we go back to here, this was a nice one right here, and it was pretty quick. Just the open. You could even if you took this pre-market level, you could do that. But let's just use the open range to the highs. Came right into the 618, retested pretty much the open. It's not too big. You might say, oh, it's only one candle, but you got to move from 805 all the way up to 840, 40 points, or 30 points, right? Pretty much 35 points. So that's pretty good. But, I typically don't like to trade it too much later in the day if there's been a lot of chop, because, again, the golden pocket is mostly for reversal play after a big move. And this isn't a big move. This is just chop around, at least for this market. It's not a big move. Yeah. We're in what is the range today? 100 points? That's nothing.
Yeah, I was saying this earlier too. Like, we're still stuck in, like, Nasdaq was the iffy one for me today, just because we're still stuck in yesterday's range. ES has broken out of that range, still kind of like flirting with it a little bit, but we're still in that range from yesterday. So that's something to me that's indicative of, like, don't get too excited about taking a long and expecting this massive move, because for me, that level is going to be still that 921 area, which we could very much go up to today. I mean, anything can happen, right? It's a Friday. But for me, I'm hesitant to take like long setups when we're still stuck in the previous day range. So for me, I was very much watching Nasdaq and ES closely for a potential drop, which we got a 30-point move on that last candle. And for me, I'm a breakout trader, so I like to look at the break of a very massive move with volume, which we got very nicely on this candle. But yeah, to Brett's point, this was a level, the opening range was a level that I would have liked to see a bigger flush in for an extended move, and unfortunately we didn't get it, but we got a nice 30-point play out of it. And so now we're just, look at what we're doing, we're chopping around, not really doing much. So kind of something that I watch for is that previous day range in order to take my plays.
Yeah, I think I just pulled up the price range tool before. It was 102 points, right? I mean, granted, we had a big move on that news. So yeah, to your point, Miriam, I mean, we're trading right in that range yesterday before. It probably would have been the range for the day had we not got that little girlfriend fight on Twitter, huh?
There we go. Nice
selling pressure on book maps here.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a downward move. I'm going to close those two micros, $120 loss. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty choppy here. You can't expect much. If it doesn't have that follow through right away, you can expect it to stay in this range, right? So at least now, we're not going to be here, obviously. But for those who are still trading, at least you have a nice, right? Range trades do work out pretty well too, right? If you can trade barcode action.
Yeah.
Especially when it has a 100-point range from the highs to the lows. So, but at least you can keep your stops tight, and if it does break one of those upper or lower levels of the barcode, it's a good breakout or short, right? So, while a lot of people hate chop and barcodes, they're actually not the worst. It's just not, I don't want to say fun trading, but fun trading.
Yeah, there's a lot of range trading is not my sweet spot, but lots of selling pressure coming in here, guys, on book maps here. We're starting to break that. Let's see if we can hold below this opening range, but next level I see down is 750. If 750 breaks on NASDAQ, wow, lots of volume coming in here. Good thing you got out of that long.
Short here. Yeah. I'd love to see one. I think that, see, this is volumes increasing. We're almost at.
There's something behind this.
Yeah, something's big one here.
I got eyes on the news feed.
Anything?
I'm not seeing anything.
I don't see anything either.
Right to view.
But there we are, right? We're wicking now that barcode level, you know, so it's tough.
Yeah, this is
Someone said you guys are the M&Ms, Matt and Mary.
We usually say MNM when Nick is here. So yeah,
that's great. That's great.
So I see in our internal thing here, Brett, are we previewing a soundboard today?
I know.
I don't think I set it. You know, I actually was trying to set it up before I got on here.
That's why you were taking your time.
Yeah, that is literally why I was taking the time. Let's see. Cable. Let's see if I can remember what Drew told me. Cable output.
Oh wow.
Wow, there's got to be some news behind this. I'm not seeing anything. It's got to be something other than like a Trump post or tweet or truth or whatever, because those usually go up right away.
750 just broke on the NASDAQ. Let's see if we can sustain below this, because we got room, guys. We got room down to the 687.
Hawk, we watch the chat all the time. We've been answering a ton of questions. I don't know specifically what you were asking. We've been trying to answer just about every question here. Miriam's talked about Bookmap in the past. It's a charting platform, guys, but it uses heat maps instead of candlesticks. I mean, you can put candles on it, but it's a heat map thing. You can check it out.
I just tried to get it to work. It doesn't work.
Okay.
We'll have the soundboard next week. It'll be more fun. We'll have a lot of fun with that. I'll come in the green room in the backstage and just start spamming shit.
So yeah, Trade Exchange says volume downtick on markets. No specific headline for drop.
I just took a short here on the 753 area. I didn't mean to take a NASDAQ short, but apparently we're in it. So we're down, or we're moving down here. I want to see us break the 736 area. That's where I'll take my next take profit, but I'm actually going to set a stop here at this high.
Hey, Ayush, no risk, no Rari. Yes, sir. Yeah, this could be a night. You know, we break this. There was this little flag pre-market, right?
I don't know how to set a stop on this. This is not working.
If it can hold that level, then we'll probably get back towards that 690 right before that news.
I think I'm about to get stopped out on this because this is not working out for me right now. Oh my God, why is it not working? I can't set my stop. I need to figure out my issue with TradingView. What is going on?
The best thing, yeah.
All right, I just got stopped out on that.
You know what it is, maybe? Or I don't even
know. I have no idea what it is. I have to do it from my actual, like my trading. So I have my Tradeify open on one screen, and then I have my orders set right here. But for whatever reason, I'm like struggling to add the orders in on TradingView. So I have to add the order in on Tradeify. And so it'll apply on here, but
yeah, they're not the best sometimes right on here. You can open up an easy thing to do. Actually, is we'll get it for next week. Just use the DOM on TradingView. You trade on the DOM, or when you trade on Tradeify, how do you put an order in on Tradeify? You usually use the just on the chart, or you use the
yeah, I either put a limit order on the chart, or I set, whatever order it is, like either if I'm trying to get in on it, I'll sell market or sell, buy market or do whatever. But usually it's just like quick. It's super quick. That's why I like trading on Tradeify because it's super quick. Watch me get stopped out. And
it might be because you're on both that it's actually fucking up a bit. Maybe.
It is super annoying because usually they'll have the little symbol here that says move your stop or your take profit.
Yeah. That was a GP right there from the news to the high. I wouldn't have taken it, but someone said that was a perfect GP. When it's like too perfect like this, there's almost no way you take it because you don't really enter a golden pocket trade. Like I don't, typically at least, I don't set an order here. Like I don't just set a blind order, right? So like if I'm looking at the chart, if we can put mine up, if I'm looking at the chart and I have a golden pocket drawn, I'm not just gonna place a blind limit order here because who knows if there's a news spike that just goes right through it. You want to see some type of reversal off of it or something like that. But sometimes it does just perfectly hit that algo, right? Like this one couldn't get better than that right at the top of it, but it is what it is. Still it's funny, we make a little bit of a lower low here, right? And then compared to the open, and then here we make another lower low, but then it comes right back up. So tricky, definitely the trickier day. The volume on this on that spike up was highest of the day besides the open, by the way, on that 5 minute.
Yeah. So did you find out if that was news, Matt?
It says no specific headline for drop. So
that's the news.
Yeah,
we're gonna change the news here. No specific news for news.
Perfect.
I was like you though, Miriam. I'm looking at that going, there has to be something to this.
Yeah.
But it's just trading the fucking NQ in 2025.
My auto camera going all over my dirty office here. I don't know why I put it on that mode. Anyway, yeah. Just came on to say hi, guys. I guess I got to do a giveaway, right?
Well, we're glad that you came on and joined with us because obviously it's always nice having you on and taking a trade with you and hearing your insights. So
100%.
We hope you feel better though.
We just have a few minutes left in the stream, so and we didn't announce anything, so this isn't really like just cherry picking, but you can just go back and pick one of the comments. Somebody says something nice about us and give them something.
Oh no, we're gonna show them now that I'm on though. We're gonna show them what the actual bot looks like. We're gonna put it on the screen.
Okay, that'll be fun.
Otherwise, I would do that. Matt just wants you guys to say a bunch of nice stuff in the chat.
You're damn right.
That was his trick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Why don't we make the keyword today nice? Why is it always why does it do this? Oh, there we go.
All right, the word is nice, guys. Type it in once.
The word nice in the chat, guys. The word nice. We'll give away a top dollar one here. 150K straight to fund. How about that?
Oh, wow. That's the boss is feeling generous today.
Yeah, why not? Once we get up to how many people we got in here right now? I don't even have enough. A couple hundred, 500, 600, something. Let's wait till we get at least 250, 300 in here. 300 people. Let's get 300 and I'll pull it. So good luck being one of those first 3. And then I'll let these guys close it out here. It's money to you. Melissa Wiggins, Mike J, Blake Mullique, Sloth Father Trading. The Sloth Father. That's a great one. I hope you win, man. I'm not gonna lie. That's a cool name. That's a cool name. Work hard, dream big. I hope you win too. Ninja Trader. That's a trademark, man. I don't know about that one. All right, I'm gonna pull it. We're almost there. Good luck, everybody. 300 almost there. 290. We're just stalling out right before it. There we go. Come on. 298. 99. You're teasing me. There we go. 305 for Miami. Love that. The 305. All right, here we go. Let's see who wins it. Good luck. This is typically how we do it in the background, guys. I think we're going to have a new cool thing. Maybe we'll get the marbles going next week, Drew. But
I like that.
This is how we do it here. Well, got to get one of those zombie races, by the way. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Those races I showed
What
you
is
guys.
it?
Those
Oh.
remember those? Yeah, those. Hey,
Yeah, that was
I
so
swear,
good.
I swear I didn't.
We
rig
should
it.
do that.
Work
I
hard,
swear-
dream big is the winner. Type something
I
in
swear
chat.
I did not
claim your
rig it. I told him I wanted him to win. I mean, you guys saw it live.
That's actually crazy.
That's actually insane. Like, I should go play a
You're
lottery.
gonna get somebody on Twitter screaming at you that it's rigged now. That's
I should go play lottery right now. I'm not even gonna lie.
I know.
Well, wait.
That was actually wild.
You has to type something in the chat.
You have 40 seconds.
That would be awful.
I love the
Now,
countdown.
Yeah.
the funniest thing would be if he doesn't type something and I have to repick it.
And it's the other
guy,
person.
just the sloth father. At that point, I think we all in on whatever I close my eyes and pick for a stock.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh my god, he might not get it.
15 seconds. Come on.
3.
Work hard, dream big.
2.
You won this giveaway. So
Oh my god, he
Oh,
didn't type
no.
anything. That's
Oh, no.
crazy. All
Oh.
right, here we go. Wow.
oh, he's right there. He made it.
Where?
Yeah,
Oh,
they made it.
oh, he said me. All right, I'll do
With
2.
1 second to spare. You made
Just
it.
like that, he's doing too. Yeah.
I'll do 2. I'll do 2.
All right, we got another one coming.
We'll do another one.
All right, you barely made it in. Work hard, dream big.
My
Make
hands
sure
are in the
Literally
air,
with
all
1
right?
second.
My hands are in the air. I'm not doing anything. There's no way. Everyone's like corrupt. All right, here we go. See, someone I didn't want to do, or not that I didn't want to do.
Esquara?
Didn't say.
Cheryl
Cheryl.
Esquara. Esquara.
Come on,
my
Cheryl,
brain.
claim your prize.
Yes, get in there.
Get right in. Let's take a look while we're waiting for Cheryl. Nothing happened so far. We'll go back to here. Cheryl, come on. 150K right here for you. And you know what? I'm going to send them out right now so you guys have them. I don't want to
35 seconds.
anybody wait here. So the thing you guys want to do is put your email. Oh, you did
She's
it
there.
already.
There
Great.
she is.
All
Nice.
right. Great.
Good job. Wow, I can't get over work hard with 1 second to spare.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was actually nuts. I was
All right,
watching
guys.
too.
I'll just put those into Cheryl. So work hard, dream big. You already have yours, but Cheryl, please go to your YouTube studio and put your email into the contact part so I can see it. Just to let you guys know how we do these, right? Whenever we pick, I go to the channel and I click here for more, and I have to see your email here. So for instance, work hard, dream big. I'll show you. He already has one, just so everybody knows how it works. We go to his channel, pause this video, and I click more, and he already has his email. So I can click this and I'll be able to see his emails. That's how we verify that you are actually the person. Because let me tell you, we get a bunch of people to submit support tickets. Oh, I'm work hard, dream big. Oh, I'm work hard, dream big. Oh, I'm work hard. No, you're not. So that's how we verify it, because people are gonna try to feed me. But anyway, hey, I'll let you guys close it out, or we can all close it out together. Why not?
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. So thank you for this. Was our first full week of Tradeify TV. Really excited to see all the guests that we had. It was great talking to Gandalf. It was great talking to Tanya Trades. Great talking to Coach Tank. And of course, we got the head man himself, the CEO of Tradeify, Brett, here with us on Friday. I told you never know when he's going to pop up. It may just be random at any time. So make sure you continue to tune in. Mr. White T himself, Nick, will be back with us on Monday. So really appreciate everyone today. Appreciate the positivity in the chat. I'm going to kick it to Brett, and that way we can maintain our tradition of having Miriam close out the show on a nice positive note. So Brett, you're up, sir.
I got the white tea, kind of. Well, it's more of a cream.
You do. Yeah.
I didn't even plan that, by the way. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, for the week. We had some great guests. You guys crushed it, by the way. I hope you guys loved having those guests on. We're gonna have some more guests on next week. We're gonna have them on. I think we're gonna have guests on 2 or 3 times a week for probably the next 4 to 5 weeks or so. We'll always have a guest each week, but I can pretty much guarantee we'll have 2 to 3 people sharing their strategies, their insights, raw feelings going through trading and outside of trading too. But really appreciate having everybody here. We're coming up almost on, what are we in, 3rd week now? So this, so coming up almost, I think next week will be our first full month. So really appreciate everyone tuning in every single day, or just dropping in to say hi, and close it out, Miriam.
All right, guys. As always, I always come in with my matcha mantra. Make sure that you go tell someone you love them today. Make sure that you're practicing gratitude as well. You always want to make sure that, trading is not just about making the money, right? We're always here to make a profit, of course, but always think about your why when it comes to trading. Everyone go have an amazing weekend. Go touch some grass, go drink your matcha, go hug a stranger if you need to, but always make sure you're practicing gratitude. And we'll be here next week, bright and early, 8:30 Eastern. So make sure you are coming on. If you have not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. And we will see you guys bright and early next week. Thank you guys for coming on.